Hello and welcome to Blood on the Tamesis, a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle set in Oxfordshire, England, 2001. With me today we have...
Philip Bailey playing Silas Shaw of Clan Bria.
Bex playing Velvet of Clan Ventry.
Lane playing Joanne Salt of Clan Torilo.
And Carlos playing Theodore Penn of Clan Ventru.
So this is the start of a new Chronicle. It is set in the same world of our previous Chronicle, Blood on the Thames. For those of you who are completely new and are joining us, this is a role-playing game where we are going to be pretending to be vampires and probably being quite horrible to each other, but I promise we do like each other in real life. So before we get into the game itself, there are a few things that I want to mention in terms of thank yous. For those of you who've been following along on the lead up to this episode, we have had a number of monologues coming out and preludes and things like that. So the first thing I want to do is thank some of our artists. So Alicia for doing our logos and the banners and lots of other things which have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much. And also to Cedar for doing the character portraits. Again, thank you very much. For being A, such a joy to work with, and B, so prompt. I know we didn't give you the longest time to deliver those things.
We love you.
And the other thing I'd mention on that, which is something which I think is particularly lovely, of course, is that both those people have come through the community. And it's really nice to start working professionally with them as well. So in addition to those thank yous, I also want to give a thank you to our tech ghouls who've been working like dogs, especially to Dylan, who, brackets the Dylan, who has just started a new job but has still been running to us in the interim to do things like filming and post-production work and things like that. And as much as it hurts my heart to say it, to Mitch, who has been working like an absolute dog. In fact, we've literally just kind of locked him in a cupboard for the last couple of weeks to get everything done. And not only has he been helping with the technical side of things, but he's also been helping with some of the storytelling and the world building side of things as well, which is great. Not only does it help me, but it gives me someone to blame when things go wrong, or if it's really bad and the players get upset, I'll be like, yeah, Mitch, that was Mitch, he suggested that. So the other thing to say is, although we're going to run off V5, we are going to be using some house rules, and I will kind of come to those as they pop up in play. It is worth saying, though, that if a player has a pool that when it's halved is equal to the difficulty, I will generally let them do it, just to speed things along. So if someone is an expert swordsman and all they want to do is a practice swing, they'll just do it, and that's that kind of idea. The other thing to mention is that we will be using Chicago by Night from Onyx Path, and some of the rules in that, in particular the homesteading rules in this session. And we'll probably talk a bit more about that in the break as well. So the other thing to mention is, although I want to talk about this in the interval, the Chronicle tenets for this game are different to the ones for Blood on the Thames. So Blood on the Thames ran with humanist tenets. This campaign does not. I'll explain the meaning of the tenets in a bit more detail in the break, but for now I'm just going to give them to you so you can kind of mull them over and wonder how you might feel they would impact the game. So the tenets are, and if anyone's like, what is he talking about? What is a tenet? It is basically the kind of moral rules for the campaign. So if your character goes against them, they can get stains on their soul. So the rules are, or the Chronicle tenets are, be true to your lord, bring no shame upon your blood, and lastly, serve not the beast. So be true to your lord, bring no shame upon your blood, and serve not the beast. So, having got all of that out of the way, I have a last thank you, or two thank yous, or maybe three thank yous, let's see. I want to thank Carlos for the Storyteller screen, which thank you very much. Phil for the chocolate orange that is hidden just out of sight behind the screen.
Show it to the camera.
Oh. Already opened. and maybe defiled. Who could say? I want to thank Lane for the Jaffa cake that we are going to consume in a bestial orgy after this is finished.
Serve not the beast. We just said
I
this.
know. We'll get lots of stains.
We'll get stains.
I also want to thank Cedar and Bex for this T-shirt that I'm wearing. Thank you very much. I literally just received it, so I'm very excited to be wearing it. And if I owe you a thank you and you're in chat, please do say so, and Mitch will tell me in the break. So anyway, now that all of that is out of the way, we can start getting into our Chronicle. So it is 2001. It is Wednesday, the 10th of October. And our players will have been sleeping in the day. But as night falls on Oxfordshire, all of you will begin to feel the blood that has sat dormant inside your bodies, your corpse-like, motionless bodies, will begin to stir, will begin to move. And with the movement of the blood, so too will come the movement of those limbs. Of course, as you've come to learn in your time of being a vampire, such movement can also cost energy. So I'm going to ask you all to make a rouse check to see whether you become hungrier or not.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that yes, I've become hungry, or yes, I'm not hungry?
Yes, I'm hungry.
Okay.
What am I rolling?
You are rolling a single dice. If you get a success, your hunger will remain the same.
No, I fell.
You're keeping it in theme for
Yes,
everybody.
exactly.
And how about you, Silas?
So +1.
Is that you were also hungry, or yes, I succeeded?
Oh, I got a 10.
Okay.
Nice.
So, Silas, when you wake, you feel much as you did the previous night. However, for the rest of you, the effort of rousing and animating your bodies once more will bring hunger with it. It's not uncontrollable, but it becomes more present in your mind. So should you encounter somebody who happens to have a tasty pulse, you will be more inclined to look at them like you haven't eaten for a while than you would normally. But you're okay, you can control it, it's all good. So we are going to start with Velvet. So Velvet, we're going to start with you where you've already got up for the night, got yourself ready. You will have met your sire, who I will describe in a moment, because this is a special evening. And
Yeah, I've heard of those.
and he has come to collect you to take you somewhere.
Okay.
So just for those people who are listening or watching, can you just give us a quick description of what Velvet looks like so they can picture him?
So Velvet is fairly tall, fairly slim. He's got a blonde hair which sort of falls over his eyes. He's got hair like Mitch, for people who know what I mean. That's like my line now for good. Yeah, he's beautiful. So I think hopefully that's helpful.
Okay, so for those of you who've not met Wallace before, Wallace appears to be a white man in his early 30s. He's got quite a slim face. He has brown hair, which is currently in a very tight ponytail. And he dresses very smartly, but in slightly old-fashioned attire. But he is in a suit with cufflinks. There is a driver who you don't know, by the way, Velvet.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not a driver you've seen before.
Okay.
You and Wallace are in the back of the car,
Okay.
so that you can converse on the journey. And you are currently travelling from kind of fairly close in the centre of town towards the northwest of Oxfordshire. Not that Velvet will have a clue really where he's going. All you'll know is you're going out of town and things are getting leafier as you drive. So yeah, Wallace will be sitting in the car and he says, this is going to be an important night for you, Velvet. Your time of living on my sufferance is coming to an end. It's time for you to start earning your keep.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it is. We're gonna go meet some associates of mine. And some associates of yours. See, you're not the only young kindred in town. These folk, they're gonna be like you. They're gonna be young and impressionable. And it's gonna be your job to make a good impression on them. A very good impression indeed.
Alright, what do you want me to do?
I want you to establish your dominance upon them. I want you to make them need you, so that when they're older and more useful, they'll do what you say when I say it.
Alright.
So play nice, play nasty, play however you want, but play to win. Do you understand?
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
I didn't quite hear you, Velvet.
I got it, sir. I got it, sir.
Much better. Much, much better. Now, their sires are also going to be in attendance, and they will also be helping with your education. It's time you learn a little more about the world outside, and what you're going to do to earn your place in it. Now understand that until you are recognized, your mistakes are my mistakes. And I'm not in a habit of making mistakes. So I want you on your best. You're better than best.
Alright, no, you got it. Of course, sir, you got it.
Of course. So you drive, and you gradually come to a place that is well removed from other houses, a small kind of country road leading to an area where you can see trees. There's not much light here. There's light at the house you're approaching, but the area around it is dark, although some of that light from the house will reflect on a lake. And you will see what appears to be kind of two buildings, one which looks like quite a large, some kind of barn, but like a converted barn that's been made for living in, but also what looks, the silhouette looks like that of a tower.
This is terrifying to me. This place is terrifying to me. So, physically, that's how I appear.
Okay, so you're allowing your fear to show.
Yeah.
So after a little while, Wallace will look at you and says, "When we leave the car, that behaviour will change."
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And he will wait for a moment. The car will stop. Someone will get out, walk around to the door. They will open it for him. Then they will walk around to open the other door for you. You will both get out. He won't shut his door. He will just start to walk towards the barn.
I will shut my door, but I'll do it very purposefully because I need this time to gather myself.
Okay.
So I will then try to follow him. I will run to catch up to him.
The door slams with what seems to you quite a over loud sound in this otherwise very quiet environment. And then he hasn't waited for you.
No.
He has just walked.
I'm running after him.
He's not walking particularly fast, however. He is taking his time. He does seem to be looking around, taking it in thoughtfully. And very much not walking like he's in someone else's domain. He's walking like this is his drive, and he's walking up it at his own speed. But you quickly catch him up, and you join him as you're making your way towards the door. And I'll come back to you in a moment. So let's go next to Theodore. So when you wake, you will hear familiar sounds in the room next door of various tools being set into place with a soft clink and the soft rustle of fabric as somebody moves quietly and delicately about a room. For those people who are watching or listening, could you give us a quick idea of what Theodore looks like?
Okay, Theodore is a man on his late 50s, close to 60. He has a very imposing frame, but he's not big. He's just more like, he's more of a personality, this gravitas. He has a very stern look and a very strong jaw, pretty much looks clenched all the time. Black hair with white around his temples, and icy blue eyes, almost glacial.
Okay, so you assumedly are getting up and going into the next room, is that
Yes.
correct? So waiting for you, as she always is Miyuki. And she, for those of you, of course, who have not yet met Miyuki, is a woman who looks of Japanese descent. She is in her late 30s, but does not look it. She has brown hair, which is worn up, and she is currently wearing a kimono with a flower motif repeated across it. And she is laying out tools next to a barber's chair. Ah, Ken-san.
Yes, Miyasai. Miyo-chan. Good evening.
Everything is ready.
Let's get to it.
So you take your seat as you normally do, and she will begin to shave you. She will kind of chatter and say things like, why didn't you shave this off when you were alive? You're so hairy.
Yeah, I know, but it's something I saw throughout the years. It's always useful. Imagine that one day I choose not to shave it off. Not all of it. Just to trim it down very short and then meet with somebody else.
Meet with someone else? Why?
Don't get jealous. I'm just saying they could see me age.
You only need to meet with me. I like you with or without a beard.
Yeah, but with the beard, I look older. Without it, I look younger. I can play both games.
I think you should look younger tonight.
I think I should look younger every night.
So she works, she shaves, she chats to you a little bit. You think she's making she always does a perfect job, but you think she's working especially hard because, of course, tonight is a special night, as you know. When that is all done and you prepare yourself and you get ready, you will go out to meet Isabel. A car will be waiting. Isabel will be waiting.
Just before that,
Yes.
Basic stuff. Probably ask Miyuki to give me a brief of the day's affair with the guys, the team, the company, everything.
Yes, she'll tell you what's been going on over the day, any kind of new updates and bits and bobs. She'll list it all off very efficiently, and will say that she's kept some written notes for you when you want to look at them.
Yeah, I'll take him with me. Probably small.
Yeah, she will have it. She'll have it done nicely for you and present it to you.
Brilliant. And before I leave, I give her a kiss on the cheek. Say like, okay, time to behave.
She says, "I'll see you in the morning, Ken-san. I'm looking forward to my breakfast."
I just laugh as I walk out.
So Isabel is going to be waiting for you. For those people who have not yet met Isabel, she is a lady who is impeccably presented. She's got dark brown hair that's currently worn in a braid over one shoulder. She is wearing a blue dress, which... and
Matching.
the makeup that she wears, the way her hair is done, everything is really... There's just something neat about it. It's not that she's not the kind of person that you would sort of spot from a mile away in a crowd or anything like that, but it's just that there is nothing out of place. Everything seems like exactly as it should be.
Looking lovely tonight, Lady Isabel. There is something to complement your attire. And I take out the earrings. I'm already wearing the cufflinks.
She says, "Thank you, Theodore." She'll take them. She'll place them with a sort of practiced motion, and you'll get into the car. You're currently in a very, very nice property tucked away in the southeast part of Oxfordshire in Henley-on-Thames. And you will be driving effectively across a fair chunk of Oxfordshire, past Oxford itself, to get to your destination. So you have a fairly good bit of time in the car. And
I did mention, like, for such an important night, I feel slightly peckish. But we must not arrive late.
she says, "It would not do to be late on a night like this. But I understand. And when this business is concluded, we will see to it, of course."
Thank you.
As you're driving, she says, "I suspect that those of the Coterie you are soon to meet will have had differing levels of education. It will be important that we ensure they know what is essential and instill in them the right values.
Absolutely.
I have complete faith in you, Theodore."
Will not fail you.
She smiles. "I know." And you drive. So I'm going to cut to Silas next. So you have a flat in Cowley, which is in town, and it's a place where quite a lot of students in term time rent out their places. So it's cheap, and also it is often quite noisy. But there is also lots of nightlife, which is quite useful. Because you sometimes in the past have taken advantage with your sire of that nightlife. You will be going, however, to a place that you've been to before, which is your sire's dwelling, and he will have told you to go immediately there. And it is the place that I was previously describing, with the tower and the lake and the barn. And when you get there, now wait a second. For those people who have not yet met Silas, what does he look like?
So he's about 6 foot, maybe 6'2". He's got a bit more of a stockier build. He is quite easy in the eyes, and he generally wears a polo shirt, a bomber jacket, and always his trilby.
Okay. So you drive to your sire's dwelling, and he's instructed you to be there as early as you can, and you will spend a little bit of time as soon after you arrive arranging some furniture with him so that it's all ready for when everyone gets here. I should say, for those people who have not met Finn before, he is a man who is 6 foot, so he's a little bit shorter than Silas. He's broad, but he's not as broad as Silas either. He has light brown hair, which is tied back in a ponytail, and he has a full beard, and he is also quite easy on the eye for people who care about this sort of thing.
What was the name? Sorry,
Finn.
Finn.
He is wearing a white shirt and a brown corduroy jacket and brown corduroy trousers, for people who want to know. And he'll be saying, right, yeah, a little bit to your left. That's it, I like it. Good, perfect. Good. Now, before they get here, right, it's important to make a good impression. Now, these guys you're going to meet, they're going to be fuckers, some of them. And it's going to be important that you put the right impression onto them. Their nonsense is not going to be tolerated, right, in this coterie. You're going to have to show them what's right. Now, the thing about our kind is, they don't like being told what to do. So you're going to have to show them, Be an example. Be someone they can look up to when things are difficult. I know you can do it.
Thank you. I will do everything that I can.
No, you're going to do it.
Oh, well,
Don't do that, like, oh, I'll try. No. No, you're one of us now. You're one of us. You're one of a proud line, right? You're special. I mean, they're all special, but you are special. So you're going to show them by your word and your deed. And then they'll know. Much more than just saying, oh, do it like this, do it like that. No, they'll know, they'll see it, and they'll believe it. Right, I think we need another chair. Hang on. So you'll go off to like get things set. Is there anything you are wanting to do in terms of preparation, or anything you want to ask him? Because you will have a little bit of time whilst you're setting up.
Probably a little bit to see if I can find out any details of the people I'm going to meet, but not pushing too hard, but just kind of saying.
Okay, he'll say, well, you're going to meet the people in your coterie, right? Who you're going to work with. But you're also going to meet the people like me who made them. So if they're like me, be extra polite, okay? Extra polite. With them, be nice, right? But don't go too far. Because you got to make them know that they got to listen to you. They got to know you're strong. Won't be hard to convince them, though, eh? And he'll pat you on the bicep.
That it won't.
Aye. Right then. Let's do it. So. We're going to cut. We're not going to cut to Theodore. That'd be cruel. We're going to cut. We're going to cut to Joanne. So, Joanne, you have a reasonably nice flat, which probably your sire will have tried sometimes to hang out in, because he doesn't like his current dwellings. So he will have sometimes appeared now and again, unless you have tried to socially combat him out of that idea.
No, I don't think so.
Jolly good.
If I am to be part of this, I've got to show politeness to my new host.
So you have a place in Marston, and you will be travelling again to this same location. And for those people who've not yet met Joanne, can you just give us a quick description of what she looks like?
So Joanne looks about 30, 32. She's about 5'5", so she's notably shorter than most of these people. She's got like short, not as frizzy as my hair, but kind of not controlled, like half-rimmed glasses with the top missing. And she's not like, she takes care of herself in terms of exercise, but she's not strong or athletic in any sort of terms.
Okay, so your sire will be with you when you're making this journey. And for those people who've not met Barnaby before, Barnaby looks like a teenager, somewhere around 15, 16 years old. He is quite skinny. He has kind of like jet black, like dyed black hair in kind of curtains. And he has like, he's fully gothed up. He has like a white face with like black lipstick, black eyeliner. He is wearing a long black coat. He's basically dressed all in black. There are buckles on his boots, and he generally has a fairly miserable demeanor on his face. So when you are on your way, how are you getting there, by the way?
Well, Joanne can't drive, so she's probably chartered a taxi or something.
Okay, great. So Barnaby will be sharing the cab. You already know him well enough to know he won't be paying for it. So he'll be sitting in the cab with you. And he won't say much on the journey, because obviously you've just got a random cab driver in the front. He will just stare out of the window, looking as if he's hoping someone's going to come and kill him before you get there. Is there anything you're saying on the journey?
I think probably something just like, so it's tonight then. I wish you'd have given me a little more warning. But
It wouldn't have made any difference.
Yes. Well, I know that you're not the chattiest of people or know too much, but are there any people in particular that I should be keeping an eye on?
I mean, all of them. They're all fucks. You have to understand that. And what I would say to you is just keep your head down and hope they don't notice you. Because if they notice you, they'll want something and you won't like it.
That's what I was afraid you'd say, but let's go then.
He says, I would say that that Finn's all right, but he's not. And then he goes back to looking out the window. So, when you arrive at the place and you get out and you assumably pay the cabbie, and he goes off, Barnaby will just say, I'm sorry. And then he'll start walking towards the place.
If you were sorry, you wouldn't have done this in the first place. Let's just go.
He doesn't contest that statement. So, in terms of who arrives when and where, Silas, you will of course be there immediately. So the first person to arrive will be Theodore with Isabel. So you will be shown inside.
From our arm.
So yeah, she'll take it. So you arrive arm in arm. The space that you're meeting in it's a barn, but it's been converted into quite a large living space. There is a mismatch of armchairs and places that have been taken from obviously different rooms that Finn has assembled for this. So it's a slightly bizarre, like the armchair doesn't match one of the other chairs, which doesn't match one of the other chairs. But all of the chairs have in common that they are comfortable. They all seem to have been lived in to some degree. But they're all good quality seats.
Are they all facing forwards or sort of in a circle?
They've been put in a circle with effectively like a half circle and then a separate half circle. So kind of facing each other. And when you arrive, Finn will say, right, I was thinking maybe we could sit around this side, right? And then you guys could sit around that side. And Isabel will look at it all. And then she says, which chair will you be sitting in? And he thinks about it. He says, I haven't really thought about that yet. And she smiles and says, good. And then she walks over and sits in what looks to your eye like probably the cleanest chair
Yes, exactly.
that is present.
And I will, if the chair next to it does not look clean, I will move it, grab another one that is clean and put it next to her.
Okay. So you start rearranging the chairs. Silas, what are you doing?
I'm currently just watching movements.
Okay. So you're just kind of watching and waiting, and Finn says, "Are we going to do all this now, or should we get everyone here first? You know, save all the repetition." And Isabel says, "I'm content to wait." Aye, good idea, right? So not long after that, there will be, the sound of someone else arriving, and Finn says, "I'll get it," and he goes off. So when the door is opened, it's Finn at the door, and he says, "There you are. All right, hello," and he waves to you.
Good to meet you.
He says, "You too," and he holds out his hand.
Take it and...
He'll shake it. He has a very firm grip.
I do not.
Yeah, okay. He doesn't make any reaction to that. He'll bring you into the room, whereupon you will see the other people. Everyone will sit down. It will not be very... Oh, I should say, so when they come in, where are you going?
Probably wait to see where Barnaby goes and then just kind of be like, do I sit next to him?
Finn will say, "Why don't you sit here?" And he'll point to one of the chairs where next to Theodore.
Sure.
Evening.
Good evening. Sit down.
Are you still standing, Silas, or have you taken a seat?
I think at this point I'm gonna take a seat.
Okay. Barnaby gets one of the chairs and starts to drag it noisily out of the circle until it is over by the wall. Isabel does not say anything, but you can tell, even though nothing really seems to move, that she does not approve. You can also tell this,
And I'm
by
kind of
the
just
way.
there like,
Yeah, you know that Isabel does not approve of this. You just sense it. It's on some level. Finn doesn't even bat an eyelid. He just doesn't even seem to notice.
Excuse the rudeness. It was apparently agreed that we will be doing introductions later.
yes, I sort of feared that he'd be doing this, but
No matter. Let's wait until everybody's here.
You don't have to wait very long. There is a knock at the door, and there is a look that passes between Isabel and Finn. And Finn says, right, I'll get it. And he looks quite enthusiastic, and he goes out. So you all arrive at the door. Door opens. Finn is there. He says, good day to you, Sir Wallace. And Wallace says, this here is mine. And he'll gesture to you. And this is, hello there. And he'll hold that hand. I'm Finn.
I take his hand and I shake it firmly. I say, I'm Velvet Riley.
Right, why don't you come in and we'll get you introduced to everyone. And Wallace says, I was thinking if you don't mind that I might come and say hello as well. I won't take much of your time. I want to see the new ones. And says, all right, I didn't, of course, oh no, of course, come in. Well, good. And he will usher you both inside.
I follow Wallace. Basically I take his lead.
Yep.
But I have I guess, different kind of demeanor from before because I'm putting all of my effort into being present and out there.
Sure.
So that I don't look terrifying.
Okay.
So
you come into the main room. Finn says, why don't you take a seat? And he'll gesture to one of the empty chairs.
is there another chair available
What, that he's...
that he's not gesturing to?
There is another chair available that he's not gesturing to, yes.
Who is it? Who are the people surrounding that chair?
So what you'll have is Barnaby sat on a chair by the wall. You'll have Isabel sat on a chair. You will have an empty chair,
Yep.
which in theory, for those of you who've been in the room, you think is where Finn is going to be sitting. And then you also have a chair where Silas, Joanne, and Theodore are sat. Did you say you were sitting next to Isabel?
Next to Isabel, to her other side.
Yeah. So there is an empty chair that is probably currently next to Silas.
I take that chair.
Okay.
It's not the offered chair, and I sit in it because my legs spread as wide as possible.
Okay. You take a kind of
Yep.
right, I have arrived position in the room.
Yep.
And Finn, because there's only enough chairs, but there's basically one more of you now than there is chairs. So Finn.
Oh, so she is between the two of them. Like actually, we're sitting in this arrangement, and then I have Isabel.
Yeah.
And Finn.
It's
like that's actually
it's very well done for
very
everyone.
very serendipitous.
Yeah.
But yeah, because it's like
it's all
Finn
good.
and Isabel close in the circle with
Yes.
Barnaby on the corner.
So Finn's like, why don't you have a seat, Sir Wallace? And Wallace says, oh no, I'm not going to stay long. I just wanted to see who's who while you introduce yourselves, and then I'll be on my way. This is your domain, Mr. Douglas. You sit down. And then he looks across to Isabel and says, Miss Isabel, pleasure to see you as always. And she says, likewise. So Finn will sit down. And Isabel will say, we'll just sort of look about, just see, are any of you jumping in to start speaking? I'm assuming you're not.
Joanne is like actively scanning everyone, kind of like is that how I am? Kind of like
I am just waiting if she makes any gesture that I should initiate anything.
Okay. You're waiting on that. Isabel gives you a very slight nod.
Good evening, everybody. I believe this is it. Am I correct, Mr. Douglas, is it?
Hey, you can call me Finn, though.
Sure, Mr. Finn.
His face falls slightly.
Well, allow me to introduce myself. I am Theodore Penn. I am the child of Isabel Tedesco.
And he gestures to Isabel.
Child of Meliore Tedesco. Child of Sir Ennolf von Bassenheim, the Knight of Oxfordshire. Sire, child of Hildebrand, child of Harnestadt, child of Eric Agerman, and child of Aventro. Pleasure to make your acquaintances.
So, Isabel seems satisfied, and of course, in introducing yourself, you've also introduced her.
Yeah.
So, she will now be looking to see who might be speaking next.
So I'll take cue because I'm next to Theodore. I am Joanne Salt, but first I must thank you, Finn, for hosting this evening. I am the child of Barnaby.
Wallace holds up his hand. He says, "One moment. I was thinking it might be fun if I tried to guess. See, I had heard of you, Mr. Penn. But I was trying to decide which one the other two of you were going to be. But I can see Mr. Douglas has made it very easy for me to decide who might be his child and who might be..." And he glances over in Barnaby's direction. Says, "Their child." Sorry, you were saying...
Well, your guess seems to be correct. I am the child of Barnaby over there. I know not of the lineage that I come from here. I have not been told this, but I hope to get to know everyone better over these coming nights.
Pleasure is sought.
Instantly, where there is a point when you say, and I haven't had this thing with my lineages, that Wallace and Isabel and Finn all look at Barnaby, but Barnaby is looking out of the window very studiously, like something out there, something very important.
I'm emphatically waiting till last.
Okay.
Yeah,
Are you also waiting to last, or are you
no,
gonna?
I'm gonna go and go. I'm Silas Shaw, child of Finn Douglas, grandchild of Kirsten McAndrews, Knight of Oxfordshire, and great-grandchild of Sir James Douglas, Knight of Oxfordshire.
Finn looks pleased. And then, of course, everybody's eyes will naturally gravitate to you.
I stand up. And I say, I'm Velvet Riley, child of Wallace Benoit, Knight of Oxfordshire. Child of Ruth Byron, Knight of Oxfordshire. Child of Sir Ennolf von Bassenheim, Knight of Oxfordshire. Child of Hildebrand. Child of Harstedt the Elder. Child of Eric Eigenman. Child of Ventry. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Likewise.
There's some nods, and then Wallace will say, "Well now," and he looks at Isabel and says, "They're all so fresh. It's almost like their hearts are still beating in there." He says, "Well, I won't take up your evening. I understand there's a lot of education to be going on. But I know, Velvet, that I'm leaving you in the most capable of hands." And then you notice he does look towards Isabel as he says that. He says, "And I look forward to seeing you all in court sometime in the future. I bid you all good day."
Sir Wallace.
And Finn says, "So good you could come in." And then I'll walk you to the door. And he'll take him, and you'll hear them kind of chattering as they're going. Has anybody got awareness and either wits or resolve pools of 4 or more.
Yeah.
Okay, you 3 will hear very quietly under his breath Barnaby say, cunt.
I will not react to that, but
Okay.
Unfazed.
You give no flicker. You've no idea if Isabel heard. Finn, of course, is out of the room. Are any of you saying anything immediately while they are out of the room?
Not immediately.
Okay.
Just not like glances with Isabel about what just transpired.
She's unreadable, really. She just seems like everything's fine. She's sitting here. All is as it should be. And what she will do, whilst that is kind of going on in the background. Sorry, you look like someone who's about to say something. So
Yes,
I'm giving you the option.
I was pondering it, but I don't think I can. So, sorry, move on.
No.
Yes.
So she will say, "Thank you all for coming tonight. I understand that you will have many questions, and that you have to some degree been kept in the dark as to why you are here and what all of this is about. Tonight we're going to explain some of that mystery to you. You should understand, however, that the principal reason that there is much you've not been told is that you have not yet earned the right to have that information. I'm going to tell you a little about Oxfordshire, and hopefully, in so doing, that will make it clearer why we are behaving in the way that we are, and clearer as to how you should best proceed in the nights that are coming. As you know, you are kindred, and you understand now something of what it means to be kindred. But you are not alone kindred. You are part of a group known as the Camarilla. And you have been taught by your sires, I presume, there is a glance to Barnaby, of the traditions of the Camarilla. Is that correct?
Sure is.
to an extent, yes.
Perhaps you might all, for certainty's sake, remind me of what those traditions are.
Sure. Masquerade. Or Silence of the Blood. And I think the second one is Domain, followed by Progeny, and then Accounting, and then Hospitality, and then Destruction.
Oh, I was told the last one was Devastation.
She says, I suppose I should point out at this time that Barnaby does have something of a sense of humour.
Yeah, if his sense of humour is showing me up in front of people, yes.
Well, that's on him. That ain't on you.
I suppose so.
She says, well, actually, is the actions of that you take do immediately reflect back upon your sires and indeed upon your blood, and so they should always be taken with the utmost care. These laws that the Camarillas set down are to ensure the survival of our kind. And indeed, the Camarilla came together in order to ensure that we would not be destroyed. As she's saying that, Finn comes back in from the other room. And he says, right, what have I missed? And she says, we've just been discussing the traditions. Oh, right, yeah. She says, and we've been talking about the fact that the rules keep our kind alive in difficult times. He says, right, yeah. So it's important being in the Camarilla, right? But the thing is, being in Oxford is better, okay? The traditions such as they are, they're like basic, you know? Being here, we demand more than that from our kindred. It's not just enough to pretend you're a vampire, you're a human, you know? It's not enough to just keep out of sight. It's not enough just to play by the rules. You gotta be something. You're part of something. Well, you will be if you do it right. That's the thing. Isabel says, yes, I was coming to that. Aye, of course you are, yeah. She says, I was going to tell them about the formation of Oxford. Oh, aye, yes, you should do that. Do that. I'll sit down. So he sits down. She says, back in 1410, before the formation of the Camarilla itself, 4 knights who had been knighted in their mortal lives, but then become kindred, came together and decided to take up residence here in Oxford. 3 of those knights still remain in the city now. There is Sir Drogo de Berentin of Clan Nosferatu, who is the prince of the city and has remained so since his arrival. Sir James Douglas of Clan Brugge, and Sir William Felton, also of Clan Nosferatu, and the child of the prince. And they came together not just as kindred, but also as knights. And they swore solemn oaths to each other. And that is what has enabled them to endure such a long time where so many of our kind can struggle, and allowed them to endure in such close proximity to each other. And it did not take long for Sir Enolf von Bassenheim to join them, for he had known them in the past, and he was lured by that. And that code and that adherence to the importance of duty and honour has formed the spine of kindred life in Oxfordshire. And those knights, as I say, swore an oath, and that oath was to serve your lord and not the beast, to bring no shame upon your blood, to fear God and his church, and to let no false words be spoken between brothers. Every time she says one of these, Finn nods. Barnaby does nothing. She goes on to say, every kindred who seeks to become part of Oxfordshire swears this oath to the prince. Those kindred become petitioners to join the city of Oxfordshire. If they prove their worth, they are then allowed to come under the prince's protection and live within Oxfordshire and live by that oath amongst other kindred. Over the years, some of those kindred have even been risen to the status of knight. So, for example, Sir Wallace is the newest of our kind to be given that great honour. Though this honour normally falls upon the eldest of us, it is not always that way. If you are to show the proper virtues and perform service to the city, you could be elevated. And the same is true for being allowed entrance. It is something that must be earned and shown. You understand that you are a coterie. I am also part of a coterie. My coterie includes, she says, Finlay and Barnaby, and one other, Sally, who you will come to meet soon. And we have a job to fulfill within this domain. And in time, you will take over that job. That role will become yours, and we will train you to do it, providing the prince allows you entrance. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
Yeah. What happens if you don't uphold these oaths that you talked about?
Well, then you will not be permitted entrance into the city, and most likely you will be exiled or destroyed.
What if you already have entrance into the city and then you don't do it?
You mean you have been accepted as a citizen and then you
Right.
break your oath to the prince?
Right, that's it. What happens then?
Well, then most likely you will receive a visit from the Scourge.
What's a scourge?
The Scourge is the prince's instrument of justice.
Right. Thank you. Got it.
I would strongly advise you to never break that oath.
I have no intention of doing that.
She smiles at you. Of course. She looks to see if there are any other questions.
I mean, my sire is giving the lecture. I'm in a privileged position. I'll let them.
Okay, cool. So she says, I mentioned that you are to seek the prince's permission to join the city. However, as of traditions of old, one cannot simply approach the prince and swear an oath and expect that. One must prove themselves worthy to gain the prince's attention. In old nights, the roads into Oxfordshire were guarded by gatekeepers, one to the north and one to the south. Our Coterie are involved in work in the south of Oxfordshire, and so it is the southern gatekeeper that we must approach. In a few nights hence, on Saturday, you will be taken to the gatekeeper by Sally. And there you will be expected to impress upon them your readiness to meet the prince. I suggest that you use this time now and the nights to come to make sure you are familiar with each other and comfortable to work together. For whatever you do and however you present yourselves before the gatekeeper will be noticed, will be noted, and will not be forgotten. If you have questions, you may of course approach your sire for guidance, but in matters relating to your duties as a coterie, you may also approach any of us as you see fit. And says, "Aye, that's right. We're always happy to help."
In the like a lull in the conversation, she kind of speaks up and goes, "Well, I have one question, and forgive me if it seems a bit rude, but you seem a bit more qualified to talk about this. If Sally is so important and this night is so important, then why is she not here?"
Finn says, "Can I take this one?" And Isabel says, "Of course you can, Finlay." He says, "Well, the thing is that our coterie has work to do. And whilst we're taking this time off, Sally's doing that work and getting things ready. And also, she's not a sire of any of you. Although you're going to be taking over her job, she hasn't made you. So that's why she's not here."
Thank you.
Aye, no problem. Never be afraid to ask a question here. Right, well, if there's nothing else, I'm sure you're itching to chat. Get to know each other. I know we were. Isabel smiles very politely.
I look over at Barnaby.
Barnaby, he's looking out the window.
Fingernails.
Yeah. Finn says, "Hey Barnaby, come on, let's go. We'll give these people a chance to chat." Barnaby gets up. He will come over to you though, and he'll lean over and he says, "Just scream when you want to get out." And then he will go.
So do I hear that?
Yes, you will. As they're starting to go, Finn will put his arm around Barnaby's shoulders, something which you will know for a fact he hates, and says, "It's been a few nights since I've last seen you. Let's catch up, shall we?" He's like, "Yes, let's do that." And Isabel says, "When you are finished and wish to leave," and she'll look to you, "I'll just be outside. But take as long as you need."
Thank you, sire.
So, the sires will exit the room and leave the four of you alone. In what for some of you may feel a little bit like a return to school, or that workshop you went on that time where everyone had name badges.
And look at the place. Cross my legs. Get one cigarette from the a silver pack. So I take it some of you are from around here, Britain, I mean.
Yeah.
Correct. Do
No.
you have a light?
Absolutely. I offer her cigarettes and
Just take the lighter and light one up myself.
oh yeah,
No?
Did you use Blush of Life?
Yeah.
So as you draw on the cigarette, blood suffuses you, but in that surging of the blood comes also with it a surge of hunger. So you're now on hunger 3. For those people at home who like to know these things, I believe.
Is that...
Are you also Blush of Life?
Yeah, of course.
You are Solidarity, hunger 3.
Yeah.
In any of the furniture in this room, is there anything resembling a drinks cabinet?
So in this room, now that you're looking around it in a bit more detail, there are several bookshelves filled with what looks like very, very old books. And there will be a drinks cabinet. Yes.
I will go pour myself a drink.
Okay, you go and you pour yourself
I will
a
say,
drink.
I need a drink.
As time progresses, Joanne, now that the sort of threat of these slightly weird, scary vampires has gone and been replaced with these probably also slightly weird, scary vampires, you start to become acutely aware of how mismatched and dusty this room is. Like it... I mean, how do people live like
I'm just
this?
gonna stay rooted in my chair.
Yeah.
So whereabouts are you from?
I'm from this city. I've been since birth. My entire career here.
Career.
Big plans for...
What did you do for a living? Pardon the pun.
I am a surgeon.
Oh. So should I call you Doctor Salt?
If you wish, I pioneered a type of bowel surgery that leaves Crohn's and ulcerative colitis patients with an easier life, shall we say. I am currently the only person that knows how to do this.
Impressive, I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
Always had a healthy amount of respect for working in the health sector.
And get anyone else a drink while
yeah,
I'm here?
Yeah. What do they got?
What do they have?
They will have quite a lot of whiskey. And
Yes. Double.
probably a couple of glasses of wine. But they seem like an afterthought amidst the whiskey.
Or a generous double whiskey.
Okay.
For him. Anyone else?
No, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Sorry, can anybody... I'm just trying to think. Do any of your characters watch mainstream television?
No.
Excellent. Carry on.
No, definitely not. So, thanks for the drink.
Hey, no worries, man.
How about you? Whereabouts are you from?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
New Orleans.
Right.
Just trying to pitch the accent.
Well, when speaking of accents, that guy, I'm not sure what his name was. Did you call him Finlay? I have no idea anything that he said, so any you can pass that back to me, that'd be much appreciated.
I'll help you around.
Right.
How about you, my friend?
I've moved here for work, much the same. I've born south, Bristol area, so
What is Bristol?
it's
City in the southwest has the largest site for the Ministry of Defense.
I'm gonna guess it's not that large.
So over 10,000 people working there for the civil
Right.
service.
Not that large, right? I found out since I got here that everything that people say is large is not so large.
It is not. I do remember when I was with the Marine Corps, we would have different measures for numbers.
Right. Well, you were in the Marines.
well, thank you for your service.
Right.
I guess it was an interesting time, but that's in the past. So now I dedicate myself to the defense business, of course,
So
having previous experience.
so you work as a defense.
I'm a contractor, just basically, and not me, people in my company. I just manage things now, taking it easy.
Well, I work in the family business, but that's oil. It ain't arms. At least not as far as I'm aware, but who knows?
So what brings you to Oxfordshire and not all the way up to Scotland?
Well, it seems that my daddy had a subsidiary he wanted setting up in Oxfordshire. If I had to bet something on it, I'd say it's to do with pharmaceuticals. Sort of a holding company, you know. He likes to expand, diversify risk, that sort of thing. I managed to convince him that he should concern himself with sustainability. So that was to be my job, come here, set up the subsidiary. Now I don't know what my job is going to be, except being on here with all y'all.
That's the point of order, isn't it? We are going to be sent on jobs that we don't know what they're going to be. I will admit I don't like this level of not knowing what's going to be going on.
Sounds exactly like the type of job I signed off when I joined the Marines. So...
Can't say as I argue with that.
So in what type of business did you say you were in?
I could say I'm in a very different kind of business too. I've been in the entertainment business.
No. Nice. What area?
Stuntman.
Oh, you're a stuntman.
Wow.
Yeah.
So action...
You heard of recent TV series? Bernard, Warrior of the Night?
I did not watch it, but one of my employees was mentioning something about that.
Yeah.
You know, well, maybe my wife watches that. I'll ask her about it.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
She's always got one about
was that you? You are.
No,
act there?
I'm the double. So you don't see my face on those.
Oh, okay.
Well, I guess this role's gotten a bit easy for you to take those hits now, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Among other things, it's actually been quite useful in that regards. I will admit that. Especially when you get some fight scenes. I'll have to be careful.
What did you say that show's called?
Bernard, Warrior of the Night.
Right. Well, that's Jess.
So, must be difficult being in the industry and not having your face out there, walking around and people seeing you and not knowing that.
Yeah.
Are you Bernard's double?
Yes, I am. It's not the path that I kind of originally went for. And they were more when I was training. They kind of saw my build and my abilities. They chucked me into stunt training, which that was quite the ride. Several bruises, almost a few broken bones, but they heal. Even as a human, they heal at my age, which I've got to remember I'm not anymore, because kindred, yeah.
And how are you dealing with being a stuntman for scenes during the day?
Fortunately, the show takes place pretty much entirely at night, and all the action scenes have been scripted so far to take place at night.
Considering the name's Night Warrior, I think they take place at night.
Yes, so been very fortunate in that regard, I must say.
Now, what do you think that job, the Coterie of most of our sires, what do you think that entails?
I don't exactly know what she meant by coterie.
Collection of kindred that are tied by a reason or a circumstance. In this case, it has to deal with the South Gate. Other places have different coterie structures.
I'm guessing we're all going to have I think we may have individually been selected for different skills. I'm clearly here to take part in the physical aspect of skills. I'm guessing you haven't spent your time in Marines. I know you're more in your later years, but I'm guessing you still have a fair amount of strength in you.
Or do you not like getting your hands dirty?
Getting my hands dirty is the least of my concerns, Dr. Salt. I can assure you that probably I've seen more blood than what you have seen on the operating room.
At the mention of blood, it does occur to you, you're really quite hungry. And although the cigarette has a familiar taste, it is like an echo of a taste, rather than the taste itself. It doesn't have the same sensation that it had in your mortal life. The whiskey's good, by the way.
In view of the fact this isn't going to get me drunk.
Yes, it won't get you drunk, but the taste is a familiar taste that you do enjoy.
If you want to get drunk, if you want to actually get drunk, drink from a kind. Sorry, trying to get used to terms. Who is already drunk, and that will get you drunk.
Right, I figured that one.
Yeah. I learned that one the hard way, unfortunately.
As you guess, my education has not been the best, so that's something I'll keep in mind, I suppose.
If you're needing any help filling the gaps in your education, as you can see, my sire is well versed, and I have been lucky to receive top grade information about.
She is certainly an excellent public speaker.
She definitely is. So, if you need any help, since we're going to be working as a Coterie, I'm more than happy to clarify any doubts that you might have.
Thank you.
Well, you all been in the Marines? It must make it a hell of a lot easier when she beats down on you.
What made you think she beats down on me?
What? She don't do that?
The relationship I have with my sire is one of trust and respect.
I see. Well, never mind then.
I have seen abusive relationships between sire and child.
That's not what I said. Don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I said.
Beatdowns is not what the Ventru do.
You're right, it's not what they do. I was thinking of something else. Anyhow, you were talking about skills. You're right, I'm not a physical guy.
So, Velvet, could you just make for me a manipulation and subterfuge roll? And anybody who cares to, can you make...
I did. I threw the jab. This is going to be an ugly roll.
I think you can make an an insight, and let's say... You can throw other things at me if you want, but let's say wits.
So I'm
Insight wit?
I have hunger too, yeah?
Yeah.
So so for those of you who are new, and Bex is new to 5th edition,
Yep.
you have as many red dice as you have levels of hunger to start with your pool. So if you have a pool of 3 dice and you're on hunger 2, you start with 2 red dice and then 1 black.
And I was manipulation and what?
Subterfuge.
Okay, fine.
And then you roll your dice and you count up the number of successes that you get. And if you get funky results, i.e. 10s, let me know. But by the way, because we are having an interplayer roll, let's talk about a rule, which is when you roll the dice, if you're contesting with another player, you need to decide whether you're going to use willpower to infect the roll before you declare the result. Because what we want is a situation where you're not like, aha, the other player has already got less than me, so I will not spend willpower, etc. So roll your dice, don't look at the other player's result, and then decide if you're going to spend willpower. If you are, let me know.
I'm not going to roll for this one.
You're not going to roll, it's fine.
I am.
Willpower only affects black dice.
Yes, you cannot influence the beast with your will.
So I cannot, because I
Okay,
only rolled
yeah.
hunger dice.
So has everybody rolled and spent the willpower as they want?
Yes.
Okay,
I can't
so
read this result.
Someone will read it for you,
Thank
some
you.
kind
Thank
person.
you. I mean, it looks horrible.
2 successes.
2 successes
One
and
bestial.
a bestial.
So two and a skull.
2 and a
2
skull.
skull.
4 successes?
Okay. So, just you, Joanne, will realise that Velvet is not being entirely straight here, as you probably guessed yourself. But you know, she's got a good eye for this kind of thing. You figure that out. So, the rest of you,
I got nothing.
Fine. She see, yeah.
I continue the conversation as normal. Like, not only skills is who we are and what we can do, but not as in training, but as, are you willing to go the extra mile?
Well, that all depends on the circumstance.
There we go. Thanks for your reply. So, think about it, the reasons your sire would have wanted to embrace you. Has that information been shared with you?
No. Not me. You?
No, but I'm smart enough to know exactly why I was chosen for the embrace.
I'm pretty sure I know why. I mean, he didn't tell me like you, but I'm pretty sure I can figure it out.
It takes knowing a little bit of your sire and a lot of yourself.
I'm sure you've got the idea of how much mine has told me.
Well, I would say someone in your field going through breakthroughs. I mean, I believe the only thing you know for certain is your clan. And other than that, you know nothing else.
I was told, I overheard that this probably wasn't his choice, let's put it that way.
Sorry, I saw Mitch. That would explain the lack of drive behind your sire's action.
And a lot of you seem to be kindred spirits with the people who made you, and as you can see, we were very mismatched.
I'll say it again, I was lucky. But I think it deals with personalities as well. Me and my sire have the same beliefs, so it's easier for us to be on the same page.
Then I believe you are underselling yourself. Luck might not be as big a part of it as you think.
Oh, probably. I say it's luck, because let's say Destiny put me in her path. She could have embraced everybody, but have we never met? If I were to be embraced by somebody else.
But the important thing is you did, and you're here now.
It is indeed, and I believe that the next order of business for us is to start acting like we are a group until we feel we are a group.
Right. Fake it till you make it. It's always the best strategy.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah, that's line that I've chosen to be in college.
Have you ever been part of a team before?
Of course.
Yep.
So I'm just going to put my cards down on the table then. I'm dexterous, and I'm knowledgeable.
And I would imagine that you are also excellent at precision work. If you're a surgeon, you should be very meticulous and methodic.
I'm going to turn to look at Velvet and go, and I can read people like no other.
Well, good for you.
That is great. How's your bedside talk?
Not the best. I'm more of the person they call in emergencies.
Understood.
I guess that's more where I come in. That's what I'm good at. Talking. That's what I'm best at.
People?
Right. People.
Business?
Right. I'm not the guy who's gonna throw somebody off a stunt bike for you. I'm the guy who's gonna convince him to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm more the guy that will be moving him. Yeah, I am the guy that'll be moving around and be.
Well,
very
yes.
spiky or something.
Look at you. Yes, that's what I assume.
I don't.
You must be more than a lump of meat, Mr. Shaw.
I don't know if you saw my car there, but I built that parts.
You built what?
My car.
What? Outside?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Show us.
But it's impressive, right?
We will at some point.
Why not now? Right there, right?
I believe leaving this room would be a sign that we wish to leave.
You know what
No,
occurred?
not necessarily. We were told to get acquainted. Getting to see Mr. Shaw's work is part of getting to know the man.
Sure. I know.
So as you go to see his car, we are going to pause for a break.
No! The car is the cliffhanger!
What kind of car does Silas have? Find out after the break. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so welcome to our Blood on the Tamesis break, in which I was going to explain what the speaking stake is.
Oh, the speaking stick, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to explain it to you because, well,
The others know this.
they all know this.
Yeah.
So, to avoid any shenanigans in the interval
Right.
when we're in the break, it's like a totem. So
I get it. Yeah,
whomever has the speaking stake gets to talk.
Otherwise,
We don't fight over it because it's pointy, but it's very ergonomic. You will find that there's a thumb placer. So like,
I like
you
it.
grab it there. See, it does. See, it's
it's
sort of
good.
like
It's good.
It was handcrafted by Mitch. 4 bits.
4 bits
Wow.
on the Twitch. He delivered, and we are going to use it as long as we can until we decide to stake each other.
Stake one of us with it. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Seems sensible.
It's a simple affair. So, I'm gonna keep this because I'm gonna keep talking. The season, the schedule for Blood on the Tamesis. So this is our second stream. We're moving and following on from Blood on the Thames, in which we started a little haphazard. It's like, okay, we have a story and we have an idea of how many episodes we want to have and how many episodes per book, but it was sort of like a rough thing. Now we are moving towards a more structured rollout in our schedule, because we realize that we need to have our regular production, but also from time to time we would need a break, instead of making it hazardous or unknowable and announcing it hours or a mere day earlier. We're going to be rolling 10 episodes this season. So this is episode 1 of season 1, as you can read somewhere in there, I think. Am I pointing in the right direction, Mitch? Yeah. Yes. There you go. So this is episode 1 of season 1. We will have a mid-season break after episode 5, or exactly between episodes 5 and 6. But don't worry, that week in between episodes 5 and 6, we will be rolling a one-shot, because the one-shots we run during Blood on the Thames were quite popular. We had Nibiru Spectaculars, Blood on the Severn, and the Blood on the Tamesis one-shot. So we're going to be doing this with a lot more preparation. We want to show other creators, other content, or other systems, and potentially more people behind the storyteller screen. So that's pretty much our rollout. 5 episodes, one shot for the mid-season break, and then 5 more episodes. We go into the Christmas break, and then we take it back on January. Sort of similar thing. So you're forewarned. If something happens between episodes 5 and 6, and you're wondering where's your Blood on the Tamesis episode, we're on a break week. Okay? And now, speaking stake goes to you.
Thank you. I have the speaking stake. So I am going to talk about the relationship map for this campaign. We've put this together in its digital form on Kumu, but it will soon be going on the website. It's sort of an evolving thing, but you'll see, those of you who've seen the fantastic images that were done of our characters by Cedar, we've added those in so you can see the Coterie. There's a little legend that tells you what the various lines and so forth represent. So feel free to have a look at that when it's up. It's sort of, I guess you know, if you've been watching this, you're all probably more experienced at this than me. So I don't know why I'm the one picked to explain this to you. You've read the book.
Consider it an initiation
Yes,
by
yeah, exactly.
fire.
Yeah.
Baptism by fire.
Quite. It's an evolving thing. So I have been furiously scribbling this last 90 minutes to write down the names of everybody that I will then go away and add to this. but you might get a request off me for some things. So that is a relationship map, which I understand we will talk about then in further interval.
During the interval, it's something that we will see. It'll grow and it'll expand with new people jumping in, the connections between them and the coterie. So
it's something that I'd just like to add on the relationship map front. So don't throw the stake at me because
I'm holding it.
Yeah, holding it on my behalf. Thank you. Yeah. Is that if with some of the characters that we've been meeting in this session, who will then be added to the map, if people send in any fan art, which obviously we always share online or on the website, etc., we'll then use that fan art to be the picture of the character on the relationship map.
So basically, Finn, Wallace, Barnaby, and Isabel have appeared in the stream, and there are sires, so they will be connected to us in the relationship map, but we have no pictures or images of them. So get on it,
do we really need
artsy people. There's a lot of artsy people.
Yeah, we have a lot of really amazing.
They are super good, all of them.
Yeah, we're very lucky for that.
Yeah.
I can see them fighting.
I don't have
over
a
Isabel.
So I don't know who I've got to give the stick to.
It goes to Lane.
It goes to Lane.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm here to talk about a shout out to a thank you to our new patrons on Patreon. Kirsty, thank you. Twin Cities by Night.
Yay!
And I'm going to absolutely butcher this name, so I am sorry to whoever this is.
We think you're amazing.
Avinda Bardison.
Yay!
And last but certainly not least, Aidan Keefe.
Hey!
We love
Thank you
you
very
all,
much.
and I will...
Phil?
But one of our previous patrons, Hida, has ascended from a post as Elder, get me tongue in straight, to become the new Nosferatu Primogen.
Dun, 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 dun.
The Nosferatu deserved a she is not only the Nosferatu Primogen we needed, is the one we deserved. Because she's amazing.
And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about the Patreon that we have to support Blood on the Tamesis, and people who are of a certain kindred rank get to participate in votes. That can affect things in the story.
You get to decide how to screw us over.
And indeed, people have decided how to screw you over, as we may be finding out in part 2.
Oh boy.
But anyway, I think you may have more to say. I don't know.
It's your turn.
Oh, it's me, yes.
Don't throw the stake.
Don't throw the stake. Don't throw the stake. So I mentioned that there were Chronicle tenets at the start, and I just want to very briefly talk about those. You may have been working this out for yourselves in the chats, but these are the things which, if you transgress against them, they can earn stains for your character. So the first one is be true to your lord. In this case, lord can mean sire, but it can also mean, obviously, the most prominent member of your clan in the city. It can also potentially be the prince. It can also be someone who holds office above you in some way. So it's a malleable term in this game.
So could it be, in this case, the guardian of the South Gate?
Well, funny you should mention that. It could possibly be the guardian of the South Gate, yeah. So the second one that I mentioned was bring no shame upon your blood. So in this case, it means your direct bloodline, but also your clan. So if you carry out an action that brings shame, then obviously that can have an impact. It's worth mentioning that in this campaign as well, depending on the standing of your clan or bloodline, the things you do to bring shame upon them vary. So for example, if you are from the clan or the bloodline that is known to be the most awesome of all, then even the slightest misstep could earn you a stain. However, if you are known to be from a bloodline that has little respect in the city, then you've got a tiny bit more leeway.
Actually,
not a lot, but a little.
Actually, if you bring shame to your sire by doing something something awesome for your clan, because I mean, you're not shaming your sire.
So well, hey, that's a good segue into convictions.
Yeah. So we will debate the nuances on a case by case basis.
Oh my god, that's gonna be so fun.
The last one to mention is serve not the beast. So in this chronicle, it is okay to do horrible things to people. You can murder, you can do horrible acts of abuse,
I'm looking at the booyah.
providing you are in control of your actions.
Yeah, exactly.
So if the beast is controlling your actions and you do something significant whilst under the beast's control, that will also earn you stains.
I'm listening to a symbol. Don't piss off the booyah.
We do have some house rules around convictions, but I'm going to talk about those as they come up in play, just so we can kind of move on as we go. And the only other thing I want to mention at the moment is I said earlier we were going to play with some of the Chicago by Night. We're going to be using homesteading. And just to elaborate on that a little bit, it's a city building tool that allows you to abstract areas of the city you're playing in. So it could be a haven, so it could be quite a small area. It could be a street. It could be an entire neighborhood. It could be a district. It's as big or small as you kind of need it to be. And you can create multiple ones of those within the Chronicle. And it's a way to get a sense of how well connected that place is, how important it is, how much money is there, things like that. And based on the scores that you get from following that in the book, that area can then affect play in certain ways.
So,
No, shoot.
Okay. So it is a form of abstraction similar to the domain creation for a coterie, the coterie system in the core book of V5. So you will have a number of coterie points that you would assign, and you can buy some stuff. But then there is some abstraction as exactly what does a chassis 2 or 3 mean. That sort of level of abstraction you have it, but instead of having points to distribute, you just sit down and make some judgments. Like this area is very centric, connected to other areas, so that might attract certain type of people and repel others. If it's a high financial district, it's going to be very different from the slums. Also, the type of security you're going to find, or the type of individuals in the middle of the night, if you will. And also the place itself, its value, the real estate, its importance historically. So those little abstractions with a very simple system that you can go with as much detail, as Peter said, you can go street by street and go crazy. Or just square it and do like north, south, east, and west, and you have it. You can have a feel of some of the areas because you have already sort of parceled them out on an abstract level, and it will improve gameplay because people will start finding what is defining the area where they are.
So I'm smiling to myself because Carlos has sort of slipped into Kindred Academy mode, and there will indeed be a Kindred Academy about this and more coming to a YouTube near you, moderately soon. So have we threw everything on the break? Oh my gosh, the most important thing of all. Or we'll have to be fairly quick. Are there any questions?
There are a couple questions.
Oh.
So first off, we just have a message from chat who want me to say that they love you all.
Oh, thank you. We love you
We
too,
love you back.
chat. We do love you.
I'm blushing.
Lord
Beautiful
Dalvin
people.
wants to know, since you've now met each of each other's sires, if you could choose one of them as your sire, which one would you choose?
Anyone but mine.
Finn, definitely Finn.
Yeah, Finn.
Isabel. I mean, come on. Got the best sire.
There we go.
Poor Barnaby.
Elthanes is interested what your opinion is. I suppose it's more for Peter and Carlos probably. On the new rules for lingering kiss and diablerie.
Let's take it by pieces. Lingering kiss. I love it. I think it's a lot better than what they did originally because it was too vague and also too meh. I mean, you could like lingering kiss. For those of you who don't know, is a presence 2 power. Is the only presence 2 power. So it means that when it's always active, you don't need to rouse it. You can choose to turn it off or on as you please when you feed. And whenever you feed off of somebody, of mortal, if you have it on, then they will sort of become addicted to you when you feed on them. So that can mean that eventually they will be seeking you and looking for you. Now it has slightly different ruling. It's something that you can work with as with other presence powers. But it used to be just I feed from that mortal, and in a couple of nights' time, they'll come for me to feed on them again because they will have this sort of supernatural naffness. I don't know.
Like free herd.
Yes, it's like sort of like a free herd.
Yeah.
But then you go like, is it really? I mean, I would rather get all and don't, and then jump to presence 3 because there was not a good presence 2 alternative in my book. I even had to go wild into a character concept that would actually benefit actively from it, and was like, yeah. But now with the new rules, I really like it. I think they did a good job.
They've made it much more horrific.
Yeah,
And much dark. I mean, it's the most dark
It's one of the
power
darkest.
in the book now, I feel.
yeah.
And we know what Mitch thinks about Diablo, right?
Yeah.
He wants it.
Yeah, the new Diablo rules are great.
Yeah, so the
They're
new,
really
the new
good.
Diablo
They're
rules
really
are good
good.
because it still has a lot of the negatives, because it has to be something which has a horrible cost. But now it feels like there is still a temptation to do it, whereas I think it was the odds were so bad, and what you get will be so tiny, it kind of made it almost pointless, I feel. And so I think it was a really good...
Now it's super worth it.
Yeah, it was a
So-
good step. So I like both changes a lot, for whatever that's worth.
And finally, chat want you to know that since none of you picked Barnaby is now ours.
Yeah, yeah.
See, even you don't want Wallace.
He is our collective sire.
You can
I
have
promise you that Barnaby will love you all equally.
In a very emo way.
And there's one thing I do want to say before we get back to it. As these guys know, I have taken it upon myself and I will be subtitling every single episode
You're
of
crazy.
this stream.
She's crazy.
She is.
You are insane.
She is.
So-
I have offered to translate what comes out of it so we can have it it's subtitled in Spanish.
I don't know how long it will be because this is essentially taking up another full-time job, but I'm going to try and get it done within the week.
Loca.
So every single episode going on will have subtitles.
At some point that we will
At
announce
some
in the
point,
future.
yeah.
We may intervene for Lane's health.
For your own well-being.
But yeah,
Why is she been toward on the Markagan for this reason? I don't think I will never.
it's the dedication to perfection in art, I think. All right, so thank you for the questions, much appreciated. Are we good to rock on?
Water will slide my way.
Water will magically appear.
In
This
true
time-
Ventru fashion, I have to do nothing. It'll come.
Okay.
Character sheet needs more water.
So Silas was taking you out to see his car,
Yes, please.
I believe.
Yes, it
Let's
was.
see your ride.
So yes, you will take them out to see your car. Silas, is there anything that they would note upon seeing your car?
It's not. It's quite clearly not an expensive, not expensive car. It's quite a cheap car that is would be fairly easy to get parts for. There are some things that are maybe a little mismatched about it, but it's still pretty damn good.
Can I see what it looks like under the hood?
Sure. Open the hood.
I express surprise that it's a stick shift.
Nice.
With the stick shifts, you've got a little more control on the bend, especially.
Oh, no,
when
you
you're
want to take that out and put it in for automatic.
Oh no! You need the
My
stick.
driver, he tells me that's the best kind of way to do it.
Then your driver.
I just
Clear
see the engine.
It's it looks
Is it the kind of car that is a liar? That you look at it from the outside and you go like, yeah, sure. And then you open the hood and you go like, holy mother of God.
if you have skills in that direction, even slightly,
Like intelligence plus drive and
I
something
think
like that?
you could do intelligence and drive. If you've got any kind of you could swing arguments for the right kind of science, or I mean, Jan's like just.
She's looking at this going, that is certainly a car.
Yes, it is a liar. The car is a liar. I mean, it's not like it's like pimped out ridiculously, but it is a car that is actually much better than it looks from the outside. It has been very well put together.
She's looking at it going, yeah, that's a car.
I'm looking
I
at it
know
like,
so much about this
Put it up together yourself.
car.
I do, but it's,
So, by the way, you will. Who's not paying attention much to the car? Who's looking, and that's about it. So you will both notice that Barnaby has joined you outside and is looking with more interest than you've seen him look at anything else at the engine.
So you put it together?
It was just a project with my dad. He was determined that for my first car, I put it together myself under his instruction. So
Nice.
thank you.
It looks really nice. See, so that tells me a lot about you, Mr. Shaw.
And so as I'm putting the bonnet down,
Again, not just a hunk of meat.
Barnaby starts to walk off.
and so what about you then?
I get things done. Simple.
I mean that's quite an open statement.
Exactly.
I know exactly what he means.
I get anything done.
So it's not long after this point that you will find that your sires will check in. Looks like some of them are kind of getting ready to go. Are there any things that you will wish to express to each other before you leave?
We have until Saturday. How about we make a point of meeting each night? For at least a good part of it.
Get used to where each other kind of are potentially. And I've got I'll be just go checking my schedule for during the week. For I think Anne as well. We should certainly exchange numbers.
So Theodore takes out a business card and a set of business cards and hands them out to you.
Do I think I can agree to meet this regularly?
You have a busy schedule.
Yeah.
You can't just take every night out. There's too much going on. But you can meet some. I mean, you can arrange to meet if it's brief or if they're coming to areas near you.
Okay, that works better for me.
Yeah.
I too have a card.
Ooh.
Pass out.
Okay, so Velvet will also pass out a card. Joanne, you might have a card as I don't know if you
She
do.
wouldn't have it with her.
No. Okay.
I take one of my cards and I give her a fountain pen so she can write her number.
Expensive tastes. Write down my number and hand it over. And
Actually, it was a gift, and he's not expensive. It's one of the cheap ones, but it has sentimental value.
Okay, so Joanne, you have given your number to Theodore.
I do the same with
I will take-
Silas.
Yeah, I'll take
So
it.
essentially, you're all exchanging
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And you arrange to meet up. So your sire, well, certainly Finn and Isabel will seem approving of what seems to be going on, and they will kind of take you away when that is done. Is anyone expressing anything to their sires, having met the Coterie, or anything you want to do on that front? If not, we're just going to kind of pass through the next couple of nights.
I think,
On the way back.
on the way back, yeah.
Yeah, not
John would
while
say something.
Oh, sure. No, that's kind of what I meant.
Oh yes, yes.
So
yes,
in the-
absolutely yes.
So in this night, if any of you wish to have, Wallace does not come back to collect you. Oh, one last thing.
Shit.
One last thing before this happens as well is Finn will come to you, and he will say, "See that tower? There's bedrooms in there, and the windows are blocked out. If you ever need somewhere to sleep, and for whatever reason you can't get back to your own home, you can stay. There's a key tucked away." He says, "I'll show you where it is. It's not very obvious. Because in an emergency, you can come and stay here. All right?"
Is it under the carpet? Is that like under the floor mat?
"No. I'll show you. I'm not just going to leave my key by the door. I'm not an idiot." He'll take you.
I lean over
It's
to
in a
whoever's
flower
nearest
pot.
and ask for a translation of this. What does he say?
Safe house tower. Where
Right.
the sun comes up.
Right.
So tucked away, there's a small garden, which is not... It's tended reasonably well, but not brilliantly well. It's a mess, Joan. Let me tell you, it's a messy garden. There's a theme for this place. It's messy. But nevertheless, he will show you that tucked away in one of the pots is a key for the tower.
The gesture is incredibly appreciated. Thank you.
It's all right. Well, we've all got to look after each other, haven't we? At least we've got to look after you. So, you all right there?
Sure, I'm good.
Good. Well, if you want to stay a little longer, he says, you can. Barnaby in the background. Isabel doesn't do that, but you have the sense that she does actually want to go. He says, you're more than welcome. So, you assumably set off with your sires. I'll come back to what you want to do in a moment and what you want to do in a moment, but very quickly, while you are with Isabel in a car, is there anything you wish to say?
Quite an odd collection of people.
She nods. As much as it was with the coterie I was put into.
I do have one question. Regarding this, I believe you said Sally?
Yes.
Why wasn't she allowed to sire?
She gives a smile to you. Which is an excellent question. Getting permission to sire is a complicated business, and entry into Oxfordshire is extremely privileged. It's not my place to gossip, of course.
Absolutely, I wouldn't dream.
But I would suggest that you not bring it up with her, as it may be something of a sore point.
That's exactly why I'm raising it right now. I would rather hear your opinion and any knowledge that you have on the matter before anyone tries to raise the question themselves. If it happens, it will not be me.
I would say that Sally has very specific tastes in people, and perhaps, in her defence, it may be that she has not found the right person.
Could be.
It could be.
Now, this Sir Wallace,
Yes.
anything I should know about him and his bloodline?
It is a very well-respected bloodline. He is the child of a knight, who indeed is a child of a knight of Oxfordshire.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And
Sibling to Meliore. So I wouldn't doubt the strength and nobility of that line, but I do have a couple of concerns for Mr. Riley.
oh,
I haven't seen anyone go so fast for a bottle since I left the service.
I think it would be a good idea if you were to take Mr. Riley under your wing.
Didn't know what a coterie was. Had a few gaps. Of course, Dr. Salt also does have them, but in her case, and she's not oblivious to this, apparently she was embraced, much to the chagrin of her sire.
Though it is, as I say, not my place to gossip, I am of the understanding that Mr. Riley's embrace happened rather swiftly. I'm not sure to the exact circumstances. That may explain why the education has been as it has. Sir Wallace has been in communication with me, and it is his desire that we oversee Mr. Riley's education.
Understood.
Obviously,
is he aware of that?
Hmm?
Is he aware of that?
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
That is an excellent question. One I trust you will handle with the appropriate amount of delicacy.
Silken gloves.
Indeed.
And
So-
then I changed the topic of conversation into whatever the reports that I received and stuff.
Yeah, you talk a bit about business and the kind of events of the evening. She will express that she's kind of pleased with how you comported yourself and so forth.
Yes.
And on we go. So, yeah,
I
okay.
noticed you.
Yes.
So I assume you are getting a cab.
Oh my god.
So you get another
Pardon
cab.
me.
Barnaby will get with you in the cab.
Yeah.
So you said, are you going to talk to him while you're waiting for the cab, or are you going to talk to him in the
While I'm in there,
Okay, in the cab.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know I'm not going to get much of a response, but
Okay,
I'm kind
sure.
of like enunciate maybe like a 2 or 3 of the things
Sure,
I said. Kind
sure.
of like, as he's probably looking out the window again, I'll just say, so they think they're better than us? I think you were right here.
Just they do. Because they like to lord it over us.
And I think I know which ones I'm going to be able to work with, at least.
Yeah, it's useful to know that.
And I think I know which ones we can use as well.
I think you're going to do okay.
I'm going to try. And that's it.
Okay, cool. Meanwhile, what are the two of you up to?
I call my secretary.
Yes?
I ask her to call me a cab.
Sure, that happens.
I don't have a cab number on me.
No, why would you need
Why
one?
would I? Yeah.
You have someone who keeps
Yeah.
these numbers, so
I mean,
you don't need
it's
to.
what, like 2 a.m? Who cares? I call it this time all the time.
Yeah. Your staff are used to late night calls from you.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, your company often works with people overseas. It's not unusual.
I
at
work
all.
really hard. All the
Exactly.
time.
People are very impressed with your dedication. And what about you, Silas?
I'm. I think it's probably seen where Velvet is waiting at the time.
So you're going to keep Velvet company.
Yeah, keep it.
Is there anything the two of you wish to say to each other, or are you just being kind of pleasant, small
I'll
talk?
make a point that I had a text from my sire who said he got delayed. That's why I'm getting a cab.
Cool. What's your insight and let's say wits pool? Okay, yeah, you completely buy it. Yeah, so a cab will come. You will head off into the night.
Do you need a lift? You don't need a lift. You've got a car.
So before you go, Finn will come to you. He says, "So, what do you think of the others?"
I mean, Sir Wallace.
Aye, Sir Wallace, a knight of Oxfordshire. It's quite prestigious having a child in this coterie. It's a good sign.
Yes, he himself seemed quite intense, but
Well, I think you have to be intense to be recognised, you know, by the prince.
but,
You should be intense, you know. When you meet the prince, you should be intense. Don't hold back. Don't be too soft. Be strong. That's what the prince likes. Strong, firm personality, you know.
Barnaby. Well,
Aye, Barnaby. Oh my god.
he certainly has an issue with people.
He has an issue with everything. Has an issue with himself.
Yeah.
I tell you, we've virtually, I don't know, he'd be dead without us, you know.
Honestly, I can fully believe that statement. Yeah,
Silas, let me tell you, when it's just us, I will never, ever lie to you. You're my child. We're connected by blood.
yes, we are connected by noble blood.
Aye, noble blood.
Yes, and yeah, so Barnaby's child certainly needs more educating, but
Aye, at least she's normal though.
yeah,
I mean, I'm quite pleased about that. I think that's a win.
And in fact, the surgeon as well. That's
Aye, very useful. Sometimes you actually want to patch them back up again afterwards, so it's very important.
And I'm guessing we might get in a few scrapes as well. So having a surgeon who's able to
Aye,
patch
aye.
potentially us up.
Well,
as
I mean, you should patch yourself up.
oh, I know
That blood in your veins, right? It's not just for bleeding.
that is true, but under circumstances, it may be.
I tell you what, it's good though. You know, a surgeon can make it look like the bandages are official, and that can be useful. And they can come up with lots of excuses. They can sign things off for you. It's very useful. I mean, for the few years before we. Wait a minute. Is she a practicing doctor?
I'm not sure.
Well, you
I
find
did
out.
say-
You find out. If she's a fucking practicing doctor, I will have Barnaby's head. I mean, you understand. I mean, what you do is stupid enough, right? But imagine a job where your purpose of your job is to cut people open. You're a fucking kindred. I mean, kind of idiot. No, it's probably just that she was one. But check, all right. Just check for me, okay?
If she's a mortician, then maybe then that would be better. But
I thought she said surgeon,
yes,
not a mortician.
we clean them out. We got all three. Yeah. So, is Isabel certainly? She knows what she's doing. And
Aye, she's a good one, Isabel. I mean, you know, she's a Ventru, but for all of that, she's from a good line.
yeah,
I mean, a few steps away from a knight, but not bad.
and Theodore seems very, very close.
Aye, seems solid, that one.
Yeah, a little.
Little pushy.
Yeah.
You want to make sure he doesn't push you around too much. You know, these Ventura like to take charge, but what they don't know is we're kings too, you know, we're descended from fucking kings. So don't let him, you know, push too hard.
Might be best to. I don't know. Yeah, I'll just.
Don't worry, you got this. I believe in you. You're going to do well. Good show tonight. Right, I better get back.
Yes, I better get back as well.
Good luck with Sally. She's quite intense as well.
Any words of advice for when I meet Sally?
She likes an argument. Don't give her one.
Good. In that case, I will steer the Ventru towards that argument.
I like your thinking. You're a cold one, you. You'll go far. Right, come on. And you'll head off.
Yep.
So a couple of nights are going to pass. I might drop in a couple of scenes with you, but are there any things you particularly want to be doing over, like, between now and Saturday?
Beating.
Eating, yeah.
So
Making breakfast for Miyuki.
essentially, if you wish to just stay at your, as in each night, if you want to just literally stay at your hunger level and you're willing to take the time, because as the time passes, I'll let you just take a hunger. If you wish to get more, I might make you make a hunting check. For those of you working at home, by the way, this is a coterie that is not yet recognised by the prince, so they don't mechanically have coterie points. So instead, what that means is that because their sires are looking after them once a week, their sires will make sure they can have one feed for free. Of course, some characters may not wish to go to their sires to get feed for free. That's obviously part of the thing, but it is there if they want
Feed
it.
myself.
So I will need a...
I'm going to make a hunting roll.
Sure, so you go ahead and make a hunting roll. You can have an assist from Barnaby. What's the pool that you're using?
Give me a second. 5 intelligence and...
No, the things you're using.
Intelligence and finance.
Intelligence and finance.
It's a total of 5.
Actually, you can't have an assist from Barnaby, but he will be there. He'll be there in spirit. So just while we're here, we're going to house rule assists slightly.
Yes.
So if a character is assisting another character, and they can only do that if they have the relevant skill, which is why Barnaby in this case. Barnaby does not have good financial knowledge, unfortunately for him. So he can't assist, but if he did have any dots in finance, he would be able to add an extra die to Joanne's roll. If he had a skill that was 3 or higher, he would be able to add an automatic success to her roll. And if he had a skill that was 5, so 4 with a specialty or a skill of 5, he would add an automatic 10 to her roll, which will make it more likely that she would get a critical win. So that's our house rule that we're going to play with assists in the game.
My pool's 6, sorry, because I've got my specialties.
Okay.
Yeah, no willpower.
Get spending that
Our
willpower.
first willpower spend of the game.
Yeah, it's a magical moment.
3 successes.
Okay. So you will be able to get rid of 1 level of hunger.
I go to the office.
Yes?
I drop the hunger 1.
You go to the office. You have a meeting with one of your work colleagues. some point in that
Your
meeting,
employees, yeah.
your employees, sorry, my apologies, Theodore.
You're forgiven.
You have a meeting with one of your employees, and at one point, you have a very close word with your employee. And your employee doesn't quite remember what happens around that time, but he does remember it was one of the best meetings he's ever had. Or at least he thinks it is. And you go down a hunger level.
Pat on the back. Keep up the good work, but go home.
He says, oh,
It's late. I've been keeping you here.
thank you.
Remember, we have the company dinner coming up.
Yes,
So-
I'm looking forward to it.
Tell Gemma and the others.
I will. Thank you. And it's very rare to get home early. He's very pleased. He goes off.
Just go. You go and enjoy your time with your family.
So obviously, Joanne, in your case, you sneak into the hospital. You find the blood bags. You feed on one, and then you doctor the records as if it was never there, and then you skulk away again. And Barnaby watched the door. You're not sure how much attention he's really giving to it, but he's definitely there. He's by the door. He looks like he's watching the door, probably. Anyone?
I go home, I eat.
Okay. You go home and you spend a passionate evening with your wife. And as has started to become the custom, that passion goes to a slightly different direction. Have you got Blush of Life active?
No, I don't even have it.
You do have, every vampire has Blush of Life.
Oh, I do, okay. Right.
So you're going to have to make a rouse check for me.
Right.
One dice.
Roll a dice, and you want a success.
Fail.
Okay. So what will happen is you're going to feed on her for a couple of levels of hunger. Because you can have her at your disposal for as long as you need. And she, as has often been the way, has come to really look forward to your visit home. And is very eager to go to bed with you now. More eager than she ever was when you were alive. Even when you first got together, because you had a very passionate relationship. But there's another edge to it now. And you find yourself sated, the hunger having reduced. And it's only after the hunger has gone down that you have that kind of aftershock of remorse. She, however, seems entirely happy as she kind of dozes with a blissful expression on her face. Indeed, she's even been asking if maybe you could kind of schedule some more adult time more regularly. She knows you're busy, but that is definitely...
Yeah, I make sure my calendar's blocked up.
Okay. Yeah, you have been telling her you're very busy of late.
So does that... I was on Hunger of 2. That doesn't drop me to 0. I'd stay at 1.
It would only drop you to 0 if you killed her.
Yeah, let's not
However,
go with that. It's session 1, right?
When you made the blood flow through your body to give the semblance of a living human, that action made you feel hungrier. And so you sated, because that took you to hunger 3, and then you sated yourself back down to hunger 1 upon her by having a languorous feed, kind of after the act of passion. Although for you, it's the beginning of the act of passion, of course.
Yes. Well, that
But
was very, very pleasant indeed.
And you do feel a lot better, and her blood tastes good.
It's good, yeah.
Her blood does taste good. So having had a kind of a more extended feed, you will get the sanguine resonance because she is increasingly excited for your home visits.
Okay.
And in your case, you are going to get a phlegmatic resonance from your worker. All right, so you get nothing from the blood bag. It just tastes like blood. It's okay. But it's nothing special.
It's like a shit smoothie.
Yes.
Assuming that you are going to just monitor your health and not do anything clever over the next few nights, we can effectively allow your hunger levels to stay the same. If any of you are on more than 1, you may wish to roll, because if you pass, then you can potentially get yourself back to 1. Otherwise, I just want to touch on a couple of very quick scenes. So the first one is with you, Joanne, because there is a point when you are... So you're currently at hunger 2, I believe.
Yeah.
There is a point where you have to work.
Yep.
And you are at the operating table. Now, you're not so hungry that you're going to lose control, and you have been practicing this, and you're good at this now. You are used to that thing that when you make the incision and the blood, the waft of the blood, and when you're close and you can see the pulse of the heart or the vein, you can resist. You can even stop your teeth from sliding free, because that was hard at first, but you've got much better at that now. But what I want you to roll is a composure, and you can choose between subterfuge or performance.
Ooh.
And what it is to stop the look of thrill and bloodlust going across your face when you make the cuts whilst the nurses are present in the
Gonna be
theatre.
subterfuge because I have nothing in performance.
Okay,
A total dice pool of 4.
cool.
3 successes.
You've been preparing yourself mentally for this, and as you make the incision, you don't twitch. Inside, you feel that part of you that wants to. You feel the pressure in your gum of the teeth that want to slide down. Even a bit of you starts to fantasize about what that blood might taste like. Because based on the patient histories and things, you don't mean to, but a bit of you thinks like, would it taste the same as blood in a bag? You don't know. You've never had blood outside of a bag.
Wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't want to, you tell yourself. But it somehow just smells better, fresher somehow. Nevertheless, anyone watching has no idea that is what is going through your mind. As far as they're concerned, you are a surgeon carrying out your professional business. And the operation goes smoothly, as most of your operations do, because you are very good at your job. Silas, you are on set for a night shoot.
Yep.
This is the part where a crazed cultist is going to be trying to attack Bernard, and Bernard is going to throw him out of a window. So there is a fake wall with a window there, and on the other side, tucked out of sight, is a crash mat. And you are standing in front of the window, and the actor, who is Mark, who often plays monsters, and he plays a menagerie of people. You've done all kinds of horrible things to him over the course of this show,
Yeah.
Normally, though, him in a giant latex costume. This time, however, he's just wearing a robe and a hood, and he's got a fake dagger in his hand. And the director is on set. She looks as miserable as ever, and slightly kind of grey, and older than her years. And you will hear her saying, and the kind of call going up on set, roll camera, roll sound, and Mark, and a young, very enthusiastic looking young woman with a clapperboard runs over and is like, Bernard, Warrior of the Night, Season 3, Episode 7, fight scene, take 1, clap. And then Mark is like, ah, and then runs at you full on.
Yep.
Can you make for me a, let's say, strength plus, you can choose, you can do performance and stunts or brawl, your choice.
I'll do performance and stunts.
Okay.
Or charisma plus brawl. That's a weird one, yeah. Unless you're like wrestling.
Before you roll, as he's starting his run, the director goes, wait, cut, and there's a pause. And she's like, Silas, you're too far to the left. You need to move to the right. Move to the right. Move to the right. She's talking to you. You do it,
yeah.
But there's this little bit of you that's realised, because Finn's been telling you how important you are for a long time, that she's not from a noble bloodline. She's not the child of a powerful kindred, who is the child of a knight, who is the child of one of the most impressive Bruya ever to walk the night. She's just a person. There's some part of you like, how fucking dare she tell me where to stand? Doesn't do anything to you, but you're just aware. Normally you just go because she's the director. But there's a bit of you realise you're not just a stuntman anymore. You're Silas Shaw. But you don't have to roll anything, but you move, and then you go through the same process. Take 2. Ah! Mark runs at you.
That will be 4.
4 successes.
4 successes.
You're all set. You're in the right position. He comes at you. The thing about Mark is, Mark's a bit enthusiastic. Mark seems to think that if he can make it slightly bigger as a performance, maybe someone will notice him. Maybe he'll get a break. Maybe something will happen. He's always getting in a bit of trouble for this kind of thing. He comes at you slightly fast. He comes at you slightly off rehearsal. Nevertheless, you very skillfully grab him. But as he's going off to your left, you have to compensate and pivot to swing, because you're worried he's not going to go through the window at the current angle. So you have to twist him round slightly to get him to fly through the window. And as you do, the blood surges within you as you're thinking, oh, I better do it. And he doesn't just go through that window. He flies through that window like a bird. It's amazing. The window, of course, is fake glass, shatters very dramatically. He goes straight through to the other side, and you hear a smack as he hits the hard floor some 3 meters away from where the crash mat was. And you hear a few people from the set on the other side going, holy shit, and like people running over. And the director says, Silas. And as you look over, she says, that was electric. Incredible. We got that. We got that take, didn't we? We got it. And they're like, yeah, we got magic. Someone says, we think Mark, and she's like, I don't forget Mark. Get that taken. That's gold. That is the first thing that's given me a reason to live in a long time. So the shoot comes to an end, and yeah, maybe people are going to start to notice you and appreciate you a bit more now.
Even as I kind of walk away, I go past my gun. Thanks, Mark.
He goes,
You'll be all right.
He says, it was a good take, wasn't it?
Yeah, well done.
And you set off home. So is there anything anyone wants to do before Saturday? Okay.
Business as usual.
Business as usual is very
Same as,
smooth. And everything is fine.
I do ask about the Guardian of the Southern Gate thingy.
Okay, so Isabel will say to you, the Guardian of the Southern Gate is also a Knight of Oxfordshire, of the clan Gangrel. Her name is Sir Holder. And she is essentially the kindred that my coterie report to. When there are things that need doing in the south of Oxfordshire, it is her that passes the prince's wishes down to us. And so she is one of the most senior members of Oxfordshire for that reason. She has held her post for a long time, is well respected in the city, and is a cool head.
Nice to know. Anything I should be wearing, attire-wise?
She says, it is likely that this will be a task that will require some practicality.
I read whatever I can find in this 2-day period on knights and codes of chivalry in order to try and find out everything I can about how one would go about disabusing someone of this position.
What, how you could fail to be a knight?
No, how I could have someone else fail to be a knight.
Yes, sorry, that's
Yes.
what I mean.
Yeah.
And yeah, not you personally.
Not me personally.
How one could
Yes,
fail to be a
yes.
knight. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. So let's make this a. You could maybe make it academics
Yep.
and intelligence. So with whatever your current hunger level is and your pool. This is likely to be an extended action where successes that you accrue, unless you're like, crit win, 100 successes.
Oh, okay, well. 2 successes, and then this is a bestial.
That's fine. Because it's not a roll with, if you like, difficulty 7 or something.
Okay, yep.
It's just that you accrue 2 successes. So you are starting to look into everything you can find on knights to find out how you can be struck down.
Yep.
And the main thing, when you start to look at kind of history and things like that... Oh, can you just give me a straight intelligence roll? I'll give you an extra dice.
Nope.
1.
Oh no, 1, yeah. With
It suddenly comes to your mind that when you were in the barn getting the drinks, those old books that were next to the where the drinks cabinet was did seem to be books. You're sure at least one of the books had something about chivalry on it.
Excellent. Okay.
You will remember that. However, you've got a little bit of information. The main thing it seems to be is that not many people can. I mean, obviously, this is not vampiric chivalry, whatever passes for that. But in normal terms, it suggests to you that it's going to take somebody of seniority, and from the little you know of the Camarilla and positions, and it's not a lot, you would be thinking it might only be the prince, but there might be more. There might be others, but that's your current.
Older than what I know, yeah. Okay.
But you can continue that action.
Yep. Okay.
In the future. Okay. Any more for any more?
I think during the downtime on one of my shifts, I want to look up Silas's medical records.
You want to look up Silas's medical records?
Being a stuntman.
Yeah.
He's a stuntman. He might be injured. Might have been injured and sent to hospitals here before.
Okay. Silas.
It's more of like a. Do I believe him? He's only come here recently, kind of thing. Like, are the records showing where he's from? Etc.?
Okay, so I guess probably this would be an academics.
Yep.
And intelligence.
Intelligence.
I'm going to assume that Silas has been, but whether you can get hold of his records is another matter.
All 6. So.
Yeah. Oh, you can add your influence within your kind of fame within the hospital to this, because people will be eager to help you if you're willing to mention that you're looking for his name to other people. If you're doing it purely on your own, you can't have the dice.
No, I don't think he actually should.
Okay.
2 successes.
You won't be able to put your hands on his records, but you do know you could request them. You have found that they exist. I
think that'll keep her curiosity sated for now.
There is definitely a Silas Shaw. You will be able to find out enough to think you've got the right guy who exists, but you haven't got his details. You could, however, if you want to pursue it, if you want to find out everything the hospital knows about him.
No, I think that's enough for now.
Okay. So, Saturday comes, and you are all asked to go to a particular petrol station at around 7 o'clock on Saturday evening, which I assume you all do.
Yes.
Sleek suit, something comfortable. One of my old suits, something I can run, jump, fight.
Yes, you will have been Barnaby will say, just to give you some flavour, Barnaby will say, I don't know what you're going to get asked, but it probably won't be good. He says, I'd wear something that doesn't show stains.
Yeah, one thing I'll be doing is I'll be using things I've used for training with things that we do with the show. So concealed shield.
So you're going to be taking like props, like prop daggers and shields and things.
I guess at this point I've been trying to get something a bit more real to go in.
Yes, you can. It's not unreasonable if you want to take something. Yes, you can. That's fine.
I will look as good as it's possible for me to look.
You look sharp. You look sharp and wealthy. Excellent.
Perfect.
You are taking a firearm and you are taking a cutting implement, which I understand. Yeah, a small one. Understood.
I think I'm just going to go in my lab coat and kind of a smart shirt, but business casual leggings. Kind of just like I look professional, I know my station kind of thing.
So, you all meet at a petrol station in Oxford on the edge of town about 7 o'clock, and waiting for you is a woman who, Joanne, you will recognise. She looks to be in her mid-20s. She's about 5'5". She has blonde hair. Those of you who are anywhere near observant about people will notice that it's dyed blonde and not naturally blonde, which is in a bob. She has a roundish face. She wears round glasses, and she's wearing a polo neck and like a grey skirt and leggings. She will be, without a shred of subtlety, watching you as you approach.
I walk towards her. Miss Sally, I assume?
That's right.
Good evening, Theodore Penn.
She nods.
Of Isabel.
Yes, I've heard of you.
Only good things, I hope. And I move to the side.
Joe?
Forward, slight nod and a...
She says, how's he treating you? Be honest.
About the same?
I thought he might. Come to me if you need anything.
Well, I've got these people to work with now. I hopefully won't have to bother you too much.
She leans forward a little bit and lowers her voice, and she says, of course, but their answers won't be as good as mine. Then she leans back out again.
I will approach her. I'll say, good evening, Velvet Riley.
I'm Sally. She says, you must be Wallace's.
Right.
She says,
Sailor Shaw.
he's told me about you. A lot. A lot. So, did they tell you where we're going?
Not exactly.
Good. 'Cause it won't be long. Transport's coming. Wait here. So she walks a few paces away. About 10, 15 minutes pass, and a van will arrive. It looks like a van that's lived. It's a panel van. It looks like there's space for maybe 3 in the front. There's a couple of people in the front, but they'll pull up and they will get out. The people who've driving the van look, well, you, Silas, will immediately think they look a little bit like the people that live in my road. The rest of you will probably think students, but in that kind of worst stereotypical assumption of student. These look, they look like
The ones
rough,
I get at work, yeah?
rough, lazy kind of young people, like that would probably feature in some of the worst tabloid papers talking about the destruction of society. Nevertheless, they get out. They're quite efficient. They give Sally what looks to be quite a respectful nod. She gives them a less respectful nod back. And then they put their hands in their pockets and stroll off down the street.
I assume the keys are in the ignition or something?
They are.
Want to do the honors?
Sure.
So you get into the front of into the driver's seat. Sally will immediately get in the front on the other side. There is one other space at the front.
I don't even
I
bother.
get in.
Open my jacket. Open the slide panel. Not for my hand.
Okay, so the two of you are getting in the back of the van. You're getting in the front.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you will start to drive.
Yep.
Smells a bit musty in the van. You will notice that it's a mess. Not a big mess. There's not a lot in the van, but it's not been cleaned, Joanne, you will note. And it will probably strike both of you. Like, there's quite a few scuffs on the inside of the van. And as you're looking at it, it will probably... You might imagine that someone had taken what was inside of the van and removed it in something of a hurry. There are no proper seats or anything, but you can secure yourself. Sally will start giving you directions.
Yep.
Are either of you in the front saying anything on the journey?
I'm focusing on the road and making sure I get the feel of the vehicle.
Yeah, it doesn't take you long to get the feel of it. It's a fairly old van, as I say, that's lived a life. You don't think it's going to be a long, long time before something needs fixing, just from the sound of it. But but it seems all right at the moment. There's plenty of petrol.
Yeah.
You notice that the seatbelt is slightly tacky. Velvet.
I internally sigh about having to replace this jacket. But I say nothing.
So Sally doesn't say much either on the journey. I'm assuming you're not saying much in the back. So you will soon find yourself, those of you who can see in the front, will find yourself driving out towards the south of Oxfordshire. You're well out of town now. And you will eventually come to what seems to be a farmhouse, which, unlike Finn's, which seem to be kind of converted into like a reasonably nice living space, looks from the outside more like just a pretty traditional, ordinary farmhouse. So you'll all get out of the van. Sally will look at you and she says, "Are you all ready for this?"
As ready as I'll ever be.
Ready for...
You're going to meet one of the most important people in Oxfordshire. If she likes you... Sir Holder, yes. If she likes you, you will get to present yourself to the Prince's petitioner. If she doesn't like you, you won't. It's as simple as that. So...
Ready.
Good.
Right.
Good. She will ask something of you. I suggest you give it. Anyone have a problem with that? Good. Then this is going to go very smoothly. And then she goes to the farmhouse. She'll knock on the door. You'll notice she doesn't just like knock, knock, knock. She'll go 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. She waits for a little while. The door opens. There is a man who's dressed in kind of fairly rugged, outdoorsy clothes. Looks to be in his mid-40s. And has got kind of short hair, but a fairly big beard. The main things you notice about him. He is white. And he will be quite deferent to Sally and will say, he'll bow and say, "She's expecting you." And Sally says, "I know." And you're all led inside. And when you go inside, you find that the inside is actually slightly more hospitable. It is clean and neat. It is decorated in a style of there's lots of wood and glass and open. It's all made very open, and it feels weirdly from the outside. It looks quite pokey, but kind of TARDIS-like when you go inside. It feels somehow bigger, just because of the way the space is arranged and all the internal walls have been kind of knocked out and bigger beams have been put in. And what you get is a kind of long rectangular hallway, and at the end of it is a chair, which you can see someone sitting in, and there are no chairs for anyone else to sit in. The man that showed you in will go and take up, will basically go up to the chair, talk quietly, and the woman at the chair will just wave him away, and he will leave through a different door. So the person that you can see, she looks to be of Scandinavian descent, you would think. She's got blonde hair. She is very pale. She has a slightly moon-shaped face in that her nose and chin sort of look as if they're trying to meet but can't quite get there. And she is, despite being very thin, quite broad, and sits quite proudly. There is something of, you have that feeling of having entered her space. This no longer feels, this is her territory. It very much feels that way. And Sally will go up kind of ahead of you and say, "I've brought them and they're ready." And Holder will look at Sally and she says, "Are you sure?" And Sally says, "Of course I'm sure. I told you. I wouldn't tell you if I wasn't sure." And Holder says, But I have not yet made up my mind, and it is my choice whether they are ready or not. Wait outside for us, Sally. So Sally doesn't immediately go. You sense her sort of bristle, and they look at each other for a little while. Saholda leans forward slightly in her seat. Something seems to pass between them, a tension in the air. Neither of them speak, they just both stare at each other. And then after maybe 3-4 seconds, Sally says, "I'll be just outside," and turns and walks past you all. When she turns away, you see the moment where her expression goes from being pleasant to being like teeth out, like "Arr!" But she's not letting it go in her body. And she walks past you all. Zelda doesn't say anything until Sally has left the space. And then she says, "I understand you are already aware of who I am. May I have your names?"
He immediately stepped forward and gave her a bow. "I am Theodore Penn, Serholder, child of Isabel Tedesco."
Step forward with a slight curtsy and more first. And Dr. Joanne Salt, child of Barnaby.
I see.
I'll step forward. Velvet Riley, child of Sir Wallace Benwat, Knight of Oxfordshire.
She nods.
I step forward, I find them going, Silas Shaw, child of Finn Douglas.
Sally assures me that you are ready for what comes, but I wish to be sure. I am confident that your sires have taught you about the traditions, and that until you are recognized by the prince, your life, such as it is in their hands. They may choose to destroy you without any fear of retaliation. You should know that if you accept this task from me, that you will become my responsibility for this night. And should you fail in that task, it will be my choice whether you see tomorrow night or not. Do you understand what I'm saying and accept those terms?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sorry, did you reply, Velvet?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
I just
We
don't
replied
know.
exactly the same
I was like,
time.
wow, stone cold, stone cold. Okay, all right.
Yes.
She says, "It is my duty to ensure that the south of Oxfordshire remains in control and safe for our kind. And whilst you are on the proper path to find acceptance into the city, there is another kind of kindred, a lesser kind. We refer to them as Duskborn. Have you come across them before?"
Yes.
This is the first time I am being made aware of the term.
They are... Oxfordshire prides itself on the strength of its blood, and we do not welcome any kindred in. We do not create new kindred without proper consideration. A Duskborn is a kindred born of weak blood. They are not like you. The prince does not approve of the Duskborn and has certain laws and policies that need to be upheld. It is come to my attention that there are Duskborn residing within my domain. That must be dealt with. Ordinarily, your sires would be called upon for this task. However, they are keen that this be an opportunity for you to demonstrate your prowess and your loyalty to Oxfordshire. And so what I require you to do is this. You will go with Sally. She will not intervene unless it is necessary. But she will take you to the place where these Duskborn reside. And you will bring them to me for branding.
Understood.
It is not our intention to destroy the Duskborn, but should you find yourselves with no choice, it will not be held against you. Are there any questions?
No.
Then I expect to see you again before the dawn.
You just turn around and start walking towards Sally.
Okay. So, anyone doing
I'm a
anything
man
different?
on a mission. Quite literally.
As he turns out,
Okay.
take a step back, turn, follow.
Yeah, so you kind of bow your head, bow your
Yeah.
body, turn and go.
Slight curtsy again. Your
Mhm.
will be done. Sing out.
I leave without a word.
Okay.
Also without bowing.
Okay. Ooh. In the time-honoured tradition of storytellers everywhere, I will make a note. So, you will find Sally, who seems fine now. She seems fine. She says,
We have been given our mission with Sally. So, whenever you're ready, we're happy to follow you.
she looks back towards the door, which is now closed as the last of it comes out, and says, as I said, you were ready. She gives a hateful look towards the door and says, follow me. And she'll take you to the van, you get back in, and she will give you directions to go to a place called 34 Honey Lane. And 34 Honey Lane is in Wantage, which is not that far from where you are. So you make your way there. I'll just say as a note to those listening or watching, although we are in the real world, we're in the world of darkness version of the real world. So if you do live in Wantage, my apologies. There's no reflection on Wantage itself. So as you are travelling into Wantage and into this particular part of Wantage, you will notice that there begins to become a kind of a notable change. A lot of you live in very nice areas of Oxfordshire. And even if you're not in the nicest parts, it's still not bad. There are a lot of buildings that look like they're very well made, have been here for quite a long time, but some of them are in slight states of disrepair. You'll begin to notice that some of the gardens are not so well tended. You will also notice that some... actually, could I have from people a quick wits and awareness roll? You are at -1 dice.
-1.
Oh. Sorry.
You remove black dice first.
Remove black dice first, always.
Oh, then I fell.
That's fine.
2 successes.
0.
2 successes.
Okay, so for those of you with 0 successes, you just notice it's a bit rough.
This van's really dirty.
And the van, and you're stuck in a van, right? But through the cracks in the panel, because there are a few, and from your position as a driver, you will notice, particularly as you're nearing your destination, that some of the streetlights don't seem that great, and that there are a couple, like some houses will have like security things on the door, or not on the doors, but on the house, but very few of them seem to actually be showing signs of working. And yeah, this just seems like an area where the things like the speed cameras don't work. It's not so well lit. And what that means in mechanical terms is any attempts to be stealthy will get a bonus dice. But any attempts to spot people will be minus a dice, because it's a poorly lit area. If, however, someone says to me, but mwahaha, I have mystical powers that allow me to see in the dark, then that negative will not apply to you while they're active. So 34 Honey Lane, when you pull up outside it, well, you don't pull up directly outside it, you pull up nearby, like at the end of the street. is a mid-terrace, quite squished-looking place with an overgrown garden. From your vantage point, you're not that close. It looks like there is someone sitting on the step outside the door.
Hey, Sally. How many Duskborn are we talking about here?
We don't have exact numbers, but we think 2 or 3.
Well, this is the purpose of this endeavour, isn't it? To brand them and find out just how many there are.
Silas, could you drive around the block, please?
Certainly.
While he's doing that, I'll take my jacket off and my tie off, so I look slightly less out of place. Yeah.
Okay, so when you've stopped the car, Sally says, I'll be over here. She'll hold out a bit of paper with a telephone number on it and just kind of hold it up to see if anyone takes it.
Just grab it.
And she says, if things go terribly wrong, page me. Yes.
That's a blast from the past. Holy shit.
One thing I'm going to do in the van is I'm going to check for any potential sort of emergency toolbox. I'm not assuming there's anything in there, but sort of repair kit.
There will be a spare tyre, but there isn't much. There isn't a toolkit in here.
So nothing like a little bar that might be useful.
I'll tell you what. Let's see, shall we? Let's leave it to fate. No, there is no bar.
I just...
Fate frowns on you.
Silent. This is an avenue, and the house is not near any other streets on the sides.
So it's mainly houses on one side. So the other side is looking at
and stuff.
Yeah. So it's mainly just the neighbours, I guess, that would be overlooking.
Velvet compartment. Is there any map of the area? Can you check on the glove compartment if there is any map?
Oh, yeah, sure. Look, there's a map.
There is no map. Fate frowns upon you once more.
Silas,
I
drive
don't
around,
like it.
please.
Sure.
I'm casing the area. I'm just gonna make a plan. I just need to know points of entry, points of exit. It sounds like a drill. I just need a little bit more intel. Let's gather it.
Okay, so you do a drive around. So the main thing you will discover is there is a very scrawny looking girl. You only get a glimpse, but a scrawny looking girl sitting on the step. When you go around, there is obviously a back exit and there is an overgrown garden, but it doesn't back immediately onto the street. It's like there's like a footpath, then more houses, then another street.
Okay. But we will need someone in that path covering the rear exit.
That's alright, I can sweep up anyone that comes out.
You want to be there?
Sure.
We'll light it up in the front.
You want me to get rid of this girl out the front first?
No, I think I have it covered.
Alright, you drop me here, and I'll wait out back.
Yeah.
So you're going to the back path.
Yep.
To watch there.
Can I?
You're going towards the front.
Yeah. I just wanna make it's a basic tactics. With the 4 people, how do I do it? I want minimal sort of noise around the thing.
Okay, so do you want to make me like a leadership?
Absolutely.
Unless you have another skill you'd like to use, but I'm going to say leadership and this is to know about tactics, isn't it?
Well, actually, it's to get them to follow the plan.
Oh. Okay, well, how about
I am
this?
already Velvet has
about
already
this?
agreed to guard the rear exit.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Silas in the front. She's gonna be taking care of the side houses, making sure that if someone hears anything, she lets me know so we can.
Well, I think in that case it's going to be you give the orders, and if they choose to obey them, then there's no problems. But if they don't, and you're going to stick to your guns, it'll become social combat.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing.
So you're telling Velvet to go to the back.
Mm-hmm. She offered
yep.
to, yes.
Yeah,
that's
I got
nice.
it. Yep.
Could you help me with? Okay, so this is a semi-detached, right? Want to know?
No, sorry, no, it's not. It's mid-terrace.
Oh, it's a mid-terrace. Okay, I want to know if something happens with any neighbors.
I can keep an eye out, but I'm not. Look at me, I'm not exactly the most physically capable.
No, that's why I'm saying lose the coat. It's white, it's very bright. You'll be screaming, "I'm here!" without.
Reluctantly
opening your
take it
mouth.
off and put it in the van.
I mean, the cold doesn't bite you like it would, but it does feel odd. It feels like taking off your armor somehow, removing your coat here.
So what I'm gonna need you to do is to keep an eye out. If you happen to see other neighbors raising alarms or moving about, you'll let me know. You have my number. Call me. On our way out, make sure you're waiting by the van. So by the time Silas, Velvet, and I come back, do you know how to drive?
No.
Then wait by the van. And they go like, Silas, you and me, on the front. I talk to the little girl. She opens the door. You go inside.
And if we can find something that a bar of some sort, and then it's going to be easier if they get on to stop them without killing them.
Use your fists. They're
I'm
smooshy.
not so good with my fists. First something in my hand.
I give him a knife. Tactical knife.
He gives you a nasty look. Well, not nasty as in. He gives you a knife that looks like it's ready for business.
Impressive.
And I just
Wherever I am at the back, in order to look like I belong here, I find somewhere in the rubbish cans an empty bottle of something and make like I'm staggering down the lane. So
Okay.
I don't look like I'm...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You, and also it's not very well lit back here.
Yeah.
Something that will strike Velvet as he makes his way along this kind of old path winding between two sets of gardens is that he doesn't really normally end up in situations like this.
Nope.
However, in the poor lighting with a bottle, your silhouette does look remarkably drunk. But yeah, there is this weird feel like it's nighttime, I'm on my own, and this place looks a little dangerous. You are, however, positioning yourself at the back of the house.
Yep.
So, Joanne, where are you going and what are you doing?
Doing what I'm told. I'm going to stay around the van, keep an eye out as much as I can.
So you're staying near the van and you're keeping an eye out. And as you're kind of straining to see, you find the darkness begins to fade away slightly. And you can see better. And you can hear better. And you start to hear the strains of Rage Against the Machine coming from number 34 Honey Lane.
also, hell yeah for you and hiding senses. I was hoping. Like, if she has sense the unseen, we're screwed.
You will not be subject to the penalty of this environment because heightened senses just gets rid of that. There is definite signs not only that there are people in the house, just from what you think, there's something going on. You from here will be able to see, as you two will shortly see, the girl on the steps is not just like sitting there; she is looking actively around.
In my pocket, I'm just going to keep my hand on my phone with his number on dial, just waiting.
So you're just waiting. So for Theodore's phone, yeah. So Silas.
I don't like have it out. It's kind of in my pocket, like a.
Okay. So Silas and Theodore, you are approaching the door.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So there is what looks to be a teenager, late teens, wearing quite a kind of thick jumper that she's kind of got huddled around there, sitting on the step. She is very pale, you will note, and she has quite like long, slightly messy hair, but kind of probably what might be considered fashionably messy in some places. So you're both approaching her.
I just approach it straight to her.
She
I have not changed my
no.
clothing because I want her to notice me.
So there is that moment. You're obviously walking with
Three-piece
him.
suit, white
Yep.
shirt,
So
Black.
just to paint the scene, a very smartly dressed older gentleman, looking massively out of place in the area, walks very directly up to the girl sitting on the steps. Walking alongside him is a very tall, very broad guy, not quite so well dressed.
I kind of remembering sort of point and thinking, go, right, take on the bodyguard role, and sort of as if.
So you're going to be like as if performing. Back in your acting days, you're going to take on the role of a heavy. Okay, so that's nice.
For when you audition for the bodyguard.
Yeah.
So lost the part to Kevin Costner.
So you can. Can you make a wit and resolve? Add your Auspex dice for me while they're approaching the door. And just tell me what's your approach as you're coming towards.
Just go walking straight towards her, and say, "Open the door, and come with us." Like shows inside.
Okay.
Straight ahead. I'm not no nonsense kind of guy.
Okay.
6 successes.
No crits, bud.
There are several people inside the building. Some of them you can hear singing along to the music, and a mix of men and women. And you think at least one dog, and you don't think it's a small dog.
Oh boy.
You come to her, you say that. Are you attempting to... Are you just trying to persuade her? Are you just saying the words? What are you trying to make her? You're trying to make her.
Yeah, compel. Open the door.
Open the door. All right.
Like,
You say, open the door. She looks at you, and she just gets up, turns around, and opens the door.
And then the moment she turns around, now. I don't want any screaming. I don't want any noises. I want you to be a good girl.
Okay. Can you...
I kind of, as he's doing that, I would kind of want to be trying to be the very much intimidating presence.
So I'm going to say, given that you have... so she's just, like, she's opened the door. She's turning back in that kind of, what? What was I doing? And as she turns back, she sees you have a gun. You say this to her. You are standing there, puffing out your quite impressive chest. You know, looking like, you know, any second now you're going to crack your knuckles or something. And she looks at you, and terror goes across her face. You've seen people act. She is not acting. You're standing kind of at his shoulder. The fear is like something you have never seen, and you see her shiver. Not just like she's slightly scared, but like she has just met death. That death has come for her at the step. You're used to scaring people. You've never scared someone like this before. You feel yourself imposing the strength of yourself upon her. And you feel her wilt beneath you. She doesn't cry out. She doesn't say a word. She just goes even paler than she already was and waits. The music, of course, now comes out much louder.
This is evidence that she's kind, right?
You would think so. Or a very weak-willed. I mean, she could be a really weak-willed. But you think she's probably kind.
We're looking for certain people that live here. Do you live? Do you know who lives? What are their names?
She,
Like, I just lower the gun, but I make sure that she knows it's still there.
She says...
I'm assuming I can hear this with heightened senses?
It's hard because of the music, but you can start to pick it out. She will say, Simon and Cindy live here, and she says, and Norman.
Simon, Cindy, Norman.
And as he says that, he hears his phone ring.
Okay. You will know there's more than 3 people inside.
There's a lot more than 3 people in that house. Dog of some kind as well. Lots of singing along to awful music. Just stay safe or something. This is all new.
Okay.
Hello?
So tell me about the others inside.
She says, we're just hanging out, just having a little bit of dream. That's all.
A little bit of a dream.
Yeah. Did you want some? I'm sure they give you some.
I will not kill you. But I need a favor of you. Text your friends. Not Simon. Not Norman. Not Cindy. Whomever else came with you. Tell them you want them to meet you at the door.
Okay.
I will let your friends leave.
She reaches, takes out a phone, begins to text. Tap, 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 gets the right letter. Tap, 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 gets the right letter. And as she's doing that, and obviously the music is getting louder, from your point of view, because you're far enough away that it doesn't hurt you, but you think the dog is partly barking because people are singing and maybe around the dog, and the dog is, you think, joining in, or maybe just barking at them, you're not sure.
Dog. That is animal cruelty. I'm gonna make sure that ceases.
However, you do hear what sounds like someone moving upstairs. You can only just about pick it out over the bass, but you do hear like the sound of someone moving upstairs rapidly in the building. You won't hear this.
No, I check what she's texting.
Okay. Are you texting?
Yep, I'm calling him again.
Yes.
A rapid movement upstairs. Very faint, but someone might be moving.
Understood. Oh, call them.
Your phone goes.
I will answer it immediately.
You answer immediately?
Yes. If I can answer it before the ring is actually audible, then I will do that.
Yeah, because you have that moment where it's like, ah! Right, you hurriedly answer it.
Yeah.
You hurriedly answer
It
it.
has to be a business call.
Why is she phoning me? Oh, wait, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you answer the phone.
Yeah.
I think you are going to be needed. Dr. Sol, well, actually I don't say names. Our lookout mentioned a fast movement. Wait for them in the back.
Right, got it.
And I turn to the girl. Well, do you wish you and your friends living in peace? And more importantly, in one piece. I grab her hand. See the text? What does it say?
It says, come to the door. Well, it'll actually say, COM 2 numerical
Okay.
DOR.
Come to door.
And you...
Silas, after you. And I just push the door slightly open. I wait by the door frame as I let Silas just scout ahead.
Okay. So Silas...
Give me eyes inside.
You step into the door as the dog... As you now hear the dog and the sound of paws as if something is heading your way. And at around that moment, someone comes leaping out of an upstairs window at the back. Literally leaps through the glass, arms up like this, through the window, like in a tight ball, sailing out into the garden to land maybe 8 meters from where you're standing.
So I'm in the garden rather than...
You're in the path, so there is a
yeah.
bit of a kind of an old fence, which isn't very high between the two of you. But they land... Let me see how they land. They land reasonably well. You reckon it wasn't a painless landing. It's not like, they're not like a ninja or anything.
Okay, yeah.
They land heavily and kind of on all fours.
Yeah.
There was definitely a slight kind of impact noise that you heard. And then they look up.
Can I get their gaze when they look up?
Yeah, and as you lock gazes with them,
Yep.
that's where we're going to stop. So,
Brilliant.
a
Great roll. Great roll. That's what we needed. People who are good at following orders.
so
Remains to be seen.
so if you would like to find out what happens to our Coterie on their first foray into violence, then please come and join us on Monday next week for episode 2 of Blood on the Tamesis. And before we go, I just want to say another big thank you to you for watching, and we think you're wonderful.
Massive shout out to Cedar and Alicia.
Yes.
Paintbrush for everything you have done.
Yeah.
And of course to our lovely ST.
Yay!
Especially him.
Hate him.
I
No,
take it
thank
back.
you. Thank you.
So yeah, upload of this episode on YouTube on Wednesday. In case you arrive late and you want to catch up with the beginning, it'll still be for a week on Twitch and podcast on Friday.
And another thing just to say is another thank you to Mitch for everything he's done. And if he's very good, we might even let him go home before the next episode.
Probably.
We shall see.
Probably. Take care.
Yes.
Thanks for joining.
Bye. I appreciate you watching this episode of Blood on the Tamesis. If you'd like to keep up with all the latest news, follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And remember, if you want to join us live, be sure to tune in every Monday at 7 p.m. on Twitch, or you can catch up on YouTube and our podcast. And a big thanks to our supporters on Patreon and all of you fine disaster ghouls. I'll be seeing you all very, very soon.